2, 1. Hey, Wolfie.
Go.
We done picked up a different Huff now.
Let's go.
Let's get into it.
Turn it up, Gino.
And what is going on a Tuesday at noon Eastern, 9 on the West Coast. And you can watch Murder, She Wrote. I am Terradome, and my man is Wolfie.
Ow, let's go, baby. Let's do a show.
How you been, man? Let me just start. We haven't kicked it since Thursday. Great show, long show. I put some shorts up in case you missed it.
I saw that.
Yeah, I'm trying to upload the Espanol, know the lay of the land. Do a little something. Been a little couple of developments as we predicted. The NBA Finals is set, and we kind of figured it'd be the Pacers.
Without a doubt.
And my Carolina Panthers went out, or Carolina Hurricanes went out rather like a whimper. Sometimes you have, you predict these Cat 5 hurricanes, and then when they hit the coast, they're like a Cat 1.2. And I think that's what happened. Got kind of bad.
It's all right, man. I mean, it seems to be the trend. Every time you guys get to Eastern Conference Finals, it kind of just falls apart a little bit. But the bright side is your team is in it, right? And it's better, and that's something you could say better than most teams, right? Literally.
Yeah,
so yeah. Compared to other teams aren't. I know it sucks, but
yeah, to the Final Four. It don't always pan out for the people.
Hey, at least you represent your team. You're just getting into hockey, so hey, you're getting there, man. That's good.
I picked a good year. We was rolling along, and then all of a sudden, hey, somebody turned out the lights.
Exactly. So, like, you picked a good year, man. I'm for it. It's okay. It's all right. It's like Lions fans. If you just became a Lions fan these past 2 years, it's a great time to be a Lions fan. So,
yeah.
So at least you got something good for yourself. You got to start somewhere, man. It's not always going to be a championship every time. So, but I mean, either you're going for the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup championship, or you're going for the Edmonton Oilers, which some would say is America versus Canada. For me, I want to see some Connor McDavid win a cup. He deserves it. He's the Wayne Gretzky of this time.
Wow. I know about Gretzky, the great one. I know, I remember him.
Yeah, he's damn good. He's a damn good skater. He knows how his dekes are insane. His handling is amazing. He's just almost every game, man, he does something crazy. So I just think that I gotta go for Connor McDavid just to see that greatness unfold. And he needs to get one of them for his greatness to actually start. You could be this great player, you could be all this hyped up guy, you can do these phenomenal things in the regular season, but if you just can't get it done, your legacy doesn't really start until then. So that greatness of a legacy doesn't start till then. So
got you. Well, let me throw what we had on the docket. We were going to talk. You just touched on it a bit. The finals are set, and that's NHL as well as NBA. We had some big news. We have brought in Mr. Bryce Huff, and we're going to go into that in the trade in depth. Latest and greatest at OTAs. And you thought up a very, very intriguing and notional thing the last time we talked. Can you explain to everybody a little bit with the GOATs by division portion? What are we doing with that?
So what we're doing in the GOATs by division Today we're doing the NFC West because we already got done with the 49ers. Let's just go ahead and get the NFC West out of the way, where we just try to break down that one player that is just the at the pinnacle of the pyramid. It's the top guy, the front face of Mount Rushmore of their team. So for the Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks, who is that one guy above the rest? Which people talk about GOATs of certainly like 49ers is Joe Montana, is Jerry Rice, Steve Young, and all Ronnie Lott, things of that nature. You got who is that one guy? And we both agreed that that one guy was Jerry Rice. So we decided the next today, which will be today, to find out who do we think is the GOATs of these three teams. I know there are division rivals, so a lot of people are like, make the punter, Johnny Hecker, their GOAT, just to talk shit. But we're gonna take this serious, try to figure out who's actually their number one guy throughout their entire GOATs. And I feel like we're gonna agree for the most part. I think maybe two teams we probably won't, but we'll jump into that, of course, towards the end, or unless you want to do that now. How do you want to approach this? We do the finals. Talk finals.
No, I wanted to get on the latest and greatest breaking news. Go to the top of the batting order here, and let me see. I had a banner, and let me go with that, and we're gonna discuss a little bit of the San Francisco 49ers have acquired Mr. Bryce Huff from the Fluffy Eagles. Fluffy Eagles. That's how my dad used to say it. He said, "Yeah, y'all playing them Fluffy Eagles," and you roll out the Fluffy. And an eagle can read fluffy if you leave them in the dryer or something. And it was a way of saying Philadelphia real quick. So I don't say the Fluffy Eagles.
That's really funny, actually.
Yeah, playing them Fluffy Eagles. Man, we're gonna whoop them Fluffy Eagles. He was a big Cowboy fan, so he would talk two times a year. He said, "Oh yeah, we got them Fluffy Eagles, and we're gonna put something on."
Wait. Your dad was a Cowboys fan?
Huge. They're in the pantheon of Cowboys. It is Tom Landry, my dad, and then everybody. You can sprinkle everybody else in. He's in heaven right now talking to Tom Landry, I'm sure, about what's wrong with that guy there. What's wrong with this Jerry Jones dude? What are we doing?
Full breakdown. Get the truth there. What's happening?
Oh yeah. Love him. He Cowboy. As much as I'm a 49er, he is a Cowboy.
I have to ask. Rest in peace to father of Father Terror, of course. How did you become a 49ers fan then? I know we have other things to talk about, but like we led into this. Now I'm curious how someone who is from my family, I was a Seahawks. It was Seahawks family. I became a 49ers fan. I have my story. You have your story clearly. I mean, obviously, the father's supposed to hand down the team. How do you go from this rivalry? It's not just like you became a Jaguars fan. You became like the rival team of the Cowboys.
But it wasn't.
So how did you become that fan of the San Francisco 49ers?
No, now the rival team of the Cowboys. Now, coming up as a youth, I was very much a Dallas Cowboy when they had Tony Dorsett and Roger Staubach, Drew Pearson, Herbert Scott, and a little bit about him. He played at the college that I went to, Virginia Union. He was an offensive guard, and this was in there. Hey, this is when they were truly America's team. Roger Staubach came from the Naval Academy, and he went to Vietnam. My dad was a Vietnam vet as well, and there was just a certain kinship, a lot of faith in the Dallas Cowboys. They were both, tremendous Christians, Tom Landry and everything. And Roger Staubach retires the day Mount St. Helens erupts. It was 1979, maybe 1980. It was my sister's birthday too. It's May 18th. And wow. I'm rudderless. I'm a little rudderless. And then the qualities of Roger Staubach, and this is why I like a Cowboy. This is why I like quarterbacks that can do this. I always felt the Cowboys could win as long as you had Roger Staubach. Fast forward, I started getting those same vibes from a skinny kid out of Notre Dame playing for the San Francisco 49ers. And Roger was gone. So now they had a guy named Danny White who was the punter. He stepped in there. But Joe was out here no matter what. That little number 16 could make it happen. No other team could make me feel like that. No other. If I'm watching a game, this dude always in it. He always in it. And then the kicker was in 1984 on our way to church, or we were going to church in 1984. We were big historical Black college and university fans. We would go to Virginia Union, Virginia State, Norfolk State, shout them all out. There was a skinny receiver from Mississippi Valley State tearing the world up. And we saw him in an East-West Shrine game against Division I guys. It was Hartley Dykes and Lawyer Tillman and Lewis Oliver and Jerry Rice was killing them. And he was supposed to go to the Cowboys. But draft day comes, the San Francisco 49ers move up to 16, a step in front of the Cowboys, and Jerry Rice comes to the San Francisco 49ers. So it was solidified then, man, because Dallas, we went back and forth in terms of, what y'all might see as the 90s and the beginning of the era of the 49er dynasty. But Dallas's true rival is the Washington Redskins. that's who they absolutely hate, not the 49ers. A real Dallas Cowboy fan.
I feel that tension between Cowboys fans.
Cowboys and Redskins. Half my family is Redskins. My other family is Cowboys, and it might as well be Cowboys and Indians. They really don't like it. So it was palatable for me to be a 49er fan, living in my dad's house. I could not be a Redskin.
So you became a 49ers fan because of players, because of Joe Montana and Jerry Rice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's interesting because, usually it's some other reason, I wanted to be against my father in some way, in a rebellious way. So let's pick a team that, he doesn't like or whatever. Something like that usually happens.
No.
But no, for you were a Cowboys fan. And how old were you when you switched?
10 or 10? No, I'm sorry, 11 in 1981. Yeah. When Roger Staubach retires, that's May 18th, 1980. I'm pretty sure it was 80. Yeah. Joe picks up the mantle, and he's Captain Comeback. He's the guy. He can always put you in position to win.
All right.
You believed it.
So that's fair. I was concerned. I was like, you switched in your teens, and I was like 10 or 11. I guess 10 or 11 is fair. I was like, okay,
you're not declaring a Democratic or Republican party or nothing. You're a kid. You're
a kid picking your team still. That I can respect that. I respect that. So how did your father take that? You going from Cowboys to 49ers suddenly because of players?
He didn't really give me too much crap until it really started getting thick in the 90s. And by that time I'm 20 when we are really going at the Dallas Cowboys in 92.
The 90s kicked in.
Yeah. Then we would always put a 12-pack of ginger ales on the line at every championship. 12-pack, put a 12-pack on. 12-pack ginger ale. And I didn't win a couple of years.
a couple of down years, but it's all right.
Yeah.
You got your back, you got yours.
Until Neon Dion came and we moved something finally. But I was losing a lot early.
And you really solidify yourself as a fan when the moment you start defending your squad and you start, really, really putting into heart and passion of being like, this is my team. I'm going to defend them. And, especially against your own family members, and being like, you know what, Jerry Rice is going to tear up your team. You're just going to go at him and stuff like that. So
it was beautiful, man. It was like being, I think the equivalent of it. We're on sometimes with he might be in the chat, a guy named Spongy. Spongy's about 14 years old now, and Philadelphia is really doing well. And I always kind of, he knows about his team. He knows a lot about it. He's on our chats and things of that nature. I see myself a little bit in him as far as acumen, because I was that young, really knowing you couldn't get on the internet. You had to get these magazines, Street and Smith, Sports Illustrated, and you had to watch halftime highlights with a cat named Howard Cosell. That's the only time you could see 49er games when they weren't huge national games. You could only see it on the halftime highlights with Howard Cosell of ABC Sports. And that was a good impression. Anybody, Papa J, know that was a real good Howard Cosell. So you had to read your magazines and stuff to find out the stats, the coaches, in-depth interviews and stuff like that. You really had to grind, and it was like,
some kids don't know that Google wasn't around forever.
Google wasn't around.
Some kids don't know that.
You couldn't go to the internet. You had to read newspapers and magazines to find out what's going on a lot. So that was my stuff, and I knew it up and down. And then, naturally, being in Richmond, Virginia, everything's Redskins, so you know all about them. Dad loved the Cowboys, and they were America's team, so they are always getting pressed. But the San Francisco 49ers, you had to do some digging, and they had to be good to get on TV to have national exposure, to be on Monday nights and to be the game of the week for it was CBS then that had NFC games. John Madden and Pat Summerall. Before John Madden and Pat Summerall, it was a cat named Tom Brookshire, and him and Pat Summerall, man, they used to drink liquor up in there, man. I know they went through a fifth of Jack Daniels every game. You could tell. You could tell. Definitely. But it was some good
back in the
days.
Day, man. Back in the day, they if you get away with it, man, you're gonna do it, right?
As
long as you do your job, I guess it's really what matters. And they got away with it,
man. They were funny. They were good. But they had to break them up. They like, look, y'all just drinking too much liquor together. Y'all, we're gonna put John Madden with Pat Summerall. Tom, you go over there, y'all. You have bad kids in the classroom, and you have to separate them.
Yeah,
get together and giggle and sniggle and stuff. That's how Tom and Pat were. It was great commentary, but I'm sure that the higher ups at CBS was like, we got to do something
here. Yeah, can't have tomfoolery. Get it?
Yeah, yeah. Y'all just acting up.
All right, okay. So that's how you became. A 49ers fan.
Diehard 49er fan. Right in the 80s. Right. That's when it felt like we were the only way I can describe it. It felt like being a Patriot in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. It felt like being a Kansas City Chief now. It just, man, you
and I
always felt like it was happening.
And I wouldn't say you were a bandwagon either, because you were 10 or 11 years old. So that's fair. You pick your team around that time. You still have to establish yourself. I'd say after you turn 16, I think that's about okay, you solidified your team kind of age. I think, okay, that's your team, kind of you guys stick with that. That's what you got to represent. So I would say you were not a bandwagon. So that's good. That's good to hear. Unless you just started getting into football later on, like I did, or if someone else did, if they just got into football in their 20s, then you got a couple of years to kind of pick your team, So that's good. That's good to hear. I'm glad that it wasn't through animosity or rebellion, or usually, like I said, usually that's where the where it comes
it's
from.
pure love.
It was a
of
very
the game.
honest reason because you like the players. Okay.
Love of the game, man. Love of the game. It was so incredible. We got people in the chat, man. Let's holler at the people in the chat. I ain't did my thing in a while, Wolfie. Let's pick up
Let's
slack,
do it.
man, real quick.
Let's
Let's shout
recognize
out
those that
this
support
chat.
this channel.
Give
Let's
me
do it.
some good shout out to the chat music. Here we go. What's up, chat? Thank y'all all for being out here right now. Let me just shout y'all out because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, first up, Red Jet Shell. What's up, Red Jet? Good to see you today. Red Jet says I'm only 55 away from the big 500. I'm counting it down just for you, Red Jet Shell. We got Crazy Juice in the building. Crazy Juice, what's up? He is rooting for the he says FB Oilers. Okay, point taken. We got Jason Hurley with a whole bunch of math and numbers here. Yo, Pterodon Wolfie, I think the deal for Huff is a win-win for both teams. The 49ers get a solid pass rusher, while the Eagles get 17.1 million cap relief 2026. Yes, sir, you're spot on, young man. You're spot on. That's what I'm feeling. That's a little bit for Paul Hope if he come on here. We got Papa J in the building. Papa J, hollering at Red Jet Chill, hollering at everybody. Would it be how it is, how it shall be? We got David Corona.
Today.
The man so bad he got his own beer, ladies and gentlemen. He got his own beer. We got Scott Lacrosse Jr. Sup, Papa J. Scott Lacrosse, and Scott Lacoste. I'm sorry, Scott Lacoste. Scott Lacoste. That's good to see. Steve-O in the building. Steve-O and what? What's up, Steve-O? Good to see you this morning.
It's also David Corona's wife's birthday today.
It is that. Shout out to Mrs. Corona. Happy birthday to you, shorty. It's your birthday. We gonna party like it's your birthday. Yeah, get all that, man. Play 50 Cent and go marching in wherever you go because you got it going on. We also have Keeping the Faith. Good to see you this morning today. And my main man just jumped on in there. 49ers throwback. Would it be?
49ers fan classic.
Throwback. He said hello to the faithful. And I will engage targets as they appear. And I'm going to fade the music out. Fade. Yeah. Fade it on out just like that. Yes, sir. So, what we were discussing was the deal, and Jason Hurley brought it up as well, man. It's some good stuff here in terms of Mr. Bryce Huff. Let's look at his productivity. Bryce Huff, he is 6'3". Some listed him at 6'2". I got him at 255 pounds. He's coming out of Memphis, Tennessee. He was a Memphis Tiger. In 2020, looking at his sack totals here, he only had 2 sacks. Drafted initially by the New York Football Jets. And then the year after that, he only had 2 sacks. But if you notice, it's 2023. There are 10 sacks. He has 2 the first year, 2 the second, 3.5, and then he goes up to a walloping 10 sacks, a double-digit sacker. 29 combination tackles, which includes 19 of which were solos. 21 quarterback hits, Wolfie. That means a lot. That means you're getting there on a precipitous rate on third down and passing downs. You've got something special in you. He goes to Philadelphia last year, and I'm sure they had some big plans for him because Philadelphia was, for all intents and purposes, the best defense in the National Football League last year and proved it and stamped it with a win in the Super Bowl and a very, very solid performance against Patrick Mahomes to get that said Super Bowl. But he fell off with only 2.5 sacks, and I don't think he even played in the postseason. As a matter of fact, I got him just for 12 games. I don't know if that was due to injury, which usually that is the culprit, but only 12 games played, and he didn't play in the playoffs. Directly underneath that, I got what is that? That is his PFF grades done to scale. I thank you very much. A little bit of a Terradome wizardry there to do the cutouts. He was at a 58.5 with the Jets first year, 60.7 the second year, but that third year with the Jets there, I got it at 90.4, which whenever you are touching blue with PFF, oh, you got it going on. You doing something right.
Blue, you're the truth.
You true when you getting that blue now. green you lean, but boy, when you hit that blue, and so they're measuring every measurable that a defensive lineman can have, to include sacks, to include his productivity in terms of tackles, hurries. They get intricate into everything to establish a metrics. I know people gonna say, I hate stats. Get out of here with your stats. It's just a way of quantifying productivity, giving it a number, saying it's this or saying it's that. That's how PFF comes up with it. And until someone else comes up with something better, it is a pretty good matrix for who's productive and who's not. He dips with the Philadelphia Eagles, and one of his teammates had some interesting quotes to say in reference to why that happened. He gave him a little leeway. This is by the San Francisco 49ers, have made potentially substantial addition to their defensive front when they dealt a conditional 2026 fifth round pick. Now, let me stop right there. Amen. Whenever you can get somebody productive and good for a fifth rounder, hey man, yeah, you gotta step on that. You got to do something. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe it will. Maybe he won't be as great as we think he will be. But there are two things working in his favor. His most productive season, as far as his career, was with the great Robert Saleh. And he's coming to us for a fifth round conditional. You just can't beat that. It's not.
You're typically gambling with the fifth round pick, is what you're doing here. You're gambling with a fifth round pick, and if he's great, you gave up a fourth round pick for a great player. So it's like, it's worth it.
Man, that's a good deal. Over the cap, his Jason Fitzgerald broke down the financial details of the move in the club. He noted that while Huff has 2 years left on his contract, it's really only a low-cost 1-year commitment for the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers will be responsible for $7.9 million in his salary for this year, of which I believe 7.7 will count on the cap, and $250,000 will be downward adjustment to the 2026 salary cap. His 2026 salary will be $17 million if that remains unchanged, essentially making this contract a 1-year prove-it deal for Huff. And with Philadelphia picking up the majority of his contract, if he's a $17 million guy and they're going to pick up the excess against their cap, this is really, really good for the San Francisco. This is a solid move. We're hoping you get a rookie who's going to come in there and shine and do some things, but you don't know what these rookies might do in the NFL, man. So for you to get a guy who's been established, been an NFL player, played, gone through a few seasons, had a very, very productive year for a conditional pick and relatively minuscule amounts counted against your cap is just awesome. It's just
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, you're getting with the $17 million next year. That's about like true pass rushers, top 5 pass rushers getting paid $35 million. So you're literally paying half of that. So if he's just a good player at the end of the day, which I think he will be that's his floor to me, then I think that's still worth that $17 million that you're giving for that guy. And then, like you said, the Eagles are paying more money to play for us than we are actually paying them. So it's like I said, it's low risk, high reward situation. You're not locked in for multiple years. It's an excellent cap situation. And at the very least, he's a depth piece that will be good. He's a vet. He's a player that you desperately need on this line where you have question marks with Gross Matos, Samo, the rookie Mikael Williams. You have more of a surefire guy in Bryce Huff. I love this move. If you ask me, I absolutely love it. I think it's perfect. 49ers fans, from what I've seen, absolutely love this move as well. I don't think I've seen any fan really be upset about it. I've seen some people be reserved, being like, I'll see it when I believe it, because we've done this before with Chase Young. He had that down year with the Eagles or whatever. So okay, so maybe he was just like a one-hit wonder. But I think that Robert Saleh knows how to use this guy, can unlock this guy. And nothing should say otherwise, because the 2 years, like you saw from the graph that you showed there, in 2022 and in 2022, he had 90% grade. He had a 90 grade. And then in 2023, he actually had a down year, but better stats with a 79 grade. So for 2 years, he was relatively really great for Robert Saleh. So that means Robert Saleh stacked 2 years with this guy where he knows how to use him. And also, if you look at it too, in that 2022 season, he was not a starter for any of those games. So it's you really see what you get. And he's only 27 years old, so it's not like he's 30-something years old and you're getting a lesser guy. You're getting a guy that's still technically in his prime. And I absolutely love this move. I think it's worth the low risk, like as you put it, whatever money it was, 17 million next year.
7.17. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not locked in forever with this guy. So I love the cash flow of it, and I can't tell you how many times I've gone live and there's been fans being like, we need a vet guy, we need another depth piece. I'm too concerned. There's not enough pass rush. Well, you got it. You absolutely got it. So there you go. So no more complaining about that. And then
you got it, man.
Yeah, and so it's just like the 5th round pick, by the way, will be a late 5th round pick. Especially since it's supposed to be probably a compensatory pick. So it's going to be a later one. If he's just good, because he still has to hit certain markers. We don't know what those markers are yet. But I'm guessing he has to be like, at least a great, maybe like 8 sacks is probably the grade. I don't know. We'll find out in the future. It's all just assumptions from here. But if you're paying a late 5th round pick for a good depth piece, that's worth it. If you're paying a 4th round pick for a guy who hit all those markers, who's a great pass rusher, that's also worth it.
Yep.
So the value is definitely there for the San Francisco 49ers. Yes. And I just want to say one more thing, and I'll let you I think you had another slide, and I'll let you get to that. I didn't want to cut you off there, but I think this is a W for the Eagles as well. I want to give them a shout out too. I don't want to make it look like it was just a win for the San Francisco 49ers. 100%, there's nothing down about this trade, I don't think. For the Eagles, they get out from a disgruntled player, a player that was not working with the scheme that he did not fit, and they move cap space around where they get out from under that kind of type of money, and they have no problems. So I just think that they get out from under the contract, which is very hard to do, very rare when you trade a player that you just signed last year. They get out from under that kind of deal. They deal with a disgruntled player that was not happy being there. And you get rid of a player that did not fit your scheme. So you get out from under, literally Howie Roseman gets out from under his worst sign that Eagles fans said was his worst signing ever. And the Eagles got out from under that. That's huge for them. So if you're an Eagles fan, I would be ecstatic. If you're a 49ers fan, you'd be ecstatic. This is a rare W for both teams in the NFL. And I just think, and I know I said one more thing, but one more thing. I think it's weird that the Eagles and 49ers did trade. So just to see that color and that color get trade was weird to me.
It is as far as trade, but we did have Javon Hargrave come from them. Was it last year or year before?
2023. In the 2023 offseason, we signed Javon
Okay.
Hargrave. But that was a
But
free agent.
he was a
signing.
free agent at the time,
Yeah.
and so we have had some dealings. Normally, it's always the same teams you kind of deal with.
GM's familiar with each other.
Denver takes our people. We deal with Houston.
Commanders.
The Commanders will trade and do some things there. But hey, that's a good partner to be trading with. It's the Fluffy Eagles. Just hope they're not sticking you with a lemon.
What was that last part?
Huh? What you say?
What was that last part?
Just hope they're not sticking you with a lemon or nothing. But
you're still getting
they got
a play.
And they're the class of the league, to tell you the truth, man. In terms of the picks that they picked, the moves that they've made, it very much mirrors what we've done. We wanted a really stout defense. We had the offensive player of the year 2 years removed. They have the offensive player of the year 2 years removed. We had two great all-pro wide receivers. They have two great all-pro wide receivers. We got a quarterback from the Big 12. They got a quarterback from the Big 12. It's a lot of similar stuff going on with the Philadelphia Eagles.
I will to add to that, man, like the Eagles part, they have 13 draft picks now. They have 13 draft picks in 2026, one of them being a fourth or a fifth rounder. Expect Howie, because we all know Howie's the best GM, like arguably the best GM in this league. It's very hard to debate that.
He's class right now.
So it's crazy. You expect Howie to cook in that offseason to trade up, or this year trade for another player. And to use those draft picks to trade for another player. I have heard that the Eagles are potentially going to trade for Kyle Pitts. They are rumored to trade for Kyle Pitts, that they're in talks for Kyle Pitts. Woo. So I expect Howie Roseman to cook with those 13 picks, because with all the great players you have, it's okay to lose 3 or 4 of those picks to get something else to help your team this year or next year.
That would be interesting. That would, because I think Pitts, man, coming out, Pitts was thinking, he was going to be at least the 3rd pick overall, and he's got a lot of talent. I saw him in college. He's very, very athletic. He was supposed to be that guy, but it just, for whatever reason, it just didn't come to fruition down in Atlanta. And it's not saying it won't, but you can see he probably needs at least a change of scenery. And what better place to change scenery than the Super Bowl champion? Yeah. It'd be welcome if I were him. It would be very much welcome. But that would be a shrewd move. That'd be a shrewd move to bring Pitts there. That'd be real good.
I think that'd be a great place for him, because Atlanta just, I mean, I'm not trying to diss Atlanta here, but like, it's just like there's just certain teams where if they go there, you could be like, okay, well, that guy's career is going to die, or they're not going to know how to use him, or they have a history of not being able to know how to use someone.
Yeah.
But Atlanta Falcons are one of those type of teams. They figured out Cordell Patterson, give him a shot for that. For that. But for the most part, man, like Bijan Robinson, they're not using right. They're not using Kyle Pitts correctly. So I do think that sometimes a player just needs a fresh start to reignite their love for the game, to reignite their hope, because hope is a good drive. And I think that him going to the Eagles could really set him off. And that would be absolutely scary to see him go to the Eagles. I think he would definitely pop, especially considering that they've been wanting to kind of, I've heard some rumors where they kind of want to trade Dallas Goedert a little bit. So I could totally see them getting him and then moving off Dallas Goedert next year. But that 2 tight end tandem would be crazy.
Oh man. And they love running the ball. You got the, offensive player of the year, the reigning offensive player of the year behind them. They would go with a 2 tight end set, and they might push the whole
The play action would be
of the
nuts.
field.
Their play action would be crazy at that
Oh
point.
yeah,
Like their
yeah.
read option would be nuts. Like if you got
Somebody's
that,
going.
yeah, I think Kyle Pitts going to the Eagles would be a game changer. And some people don't believe in Kyle Pitts; they think he's washed and done. But I've always wanted to trade for Kyle Pitts for the 49ers
Yeah,
because I think he just needs to go to the right place, and I think he would be a great place for San Francisco 49ers. And so I would be like, all right, 49ers, time for you to cook. Go get Kyle Pitts now too. Okay, go. We have 10 picks next year because we just lost one. Let's go ahead and just trade another one to go get Kyle Pitts. I'm all for it, dude. I'm all
man.
for getting that player, but I don't see that happening. So,
And speaking of which, just a change of scenery. That's what the slide I was gonna bring up. It's on Niners Wire. Uh, they did an interview with Brandon Lloyd, or they have a statement from it. Eagles defensive lineman Brandon Graham. I'm sorry, Brandon Graham. I got Lloyd on my brain. A 15-year-old vet who played with Up last season provided some optimism on that front in an appearance on the Ross Tucker podcast. I just think with Jets, it was a defense. It was just that defense, man. Graham said, I know that what it's like playing in a 4-3 wide 9, go get it every play. It's always stop the run on the way to the quarterback. That's the slogan that type of defense is. So I feel like it's all scheme. I've seen different guys flourish in different systems. Then you see them get in another system. It's different. And what they ask of him this year, it wasn't a great marriage, I would say, because I know Huff can rush. That's the big statement I'm taking away. I know Huff can rush. I see him doing all that, but sometimes it's just a different type of scheme, what people ask of you and what they want you to be able to do. I've seen that happen, man. There was a cat, uh, Namdi Asamoah. Namdi Asamoah played for the Oakland Raiders. He was drafted by the Oakland Raiders. He had a really, really strong season. He had a couple of strong seasons. I think he led the NFL in interceptions. He gets not traded, but as a free agent, I think he goes out there and signs with the Washington Commanders, or it might have been Philly. No, it's Philly. It was Philly. But they were asking of him to do something different. They wanted a press man guy. And Namdi's like, my success came from being on one side of the field, playing off coverage, reading the quarterback. I always get on the right side. But when now they give you that money, they're expecting you to do this, that, and a third, and it might not be that that's your forte. But just because you had a lot of success somewhere else, you can't just stick a guy in the system and say, well, you were good over there. We want you to be this over here. It quite set up. And I think this is what Brandon Graham was alluding to, that he had all the success, speaking in terms of Bryce Love, here with the Jets in this system. But then Philly brings him down and says, well, we need you to be it's Vic Fangio's system. So it's now a 3-4, and it just didn't quite fit his eye, or whatever, what have you. But here, with where you had that success, it says a lot if Robert Saleh will utilize him to the nth degree, as he has shown his historically he has done before.
Yeah, he fits the scheme. That's what it's all about, right? Like, his scheme, it really kind of sets you up for success based on where you go. Some players have it all and can go anywhere and they can perform like that. But when you're a D end and they ask you to be in a 3-4, where they ask you kind of like step back a little bit and do some short route coverages, stuff like that, in zone and things of that nature in a 3-4, Bryce Huff just can't do those things. And when you're asking when you're asking Bryce Huff, just like what Brandon Graham had to say there, backing it up, that he's a pass rusher. He's a guy that goes for, I've seen that. He can do those things. And that's what Robert Sala's defense is all about, is pin your ears back, as you've heard 1,000 times, I'm sure, that it's pin your ears back, go get the quarterback, go get the guy behind the line, whoever it is, and you get that guy. And that's what Bryce Huff can do. That is his forte. That's what he's really great at. And so if that fits his scheme, that fits his talents. It's just go get that guy. And so that's why it's a perfect fit for Robert Saleh and what he can use him for, because he knows how to use him and he fits the scheme. He knows what he's great at and what he's not good at. So he's not going to ask Bryce Huff to drop back into coverage or anything like that, or play spy on the edge there a little bit. Like he's going to just be like, I want you to go get the guy. The linebackers are going to take care of it. Slot guy is going to take care of it. You just go and you take care of the running back and quarterback. That is your job. And with Vic Fangio, they asked their linebackers, offensive linebackers, to rush the passer and do some of those other stunts. So I totally agree with Brandon Graham, and it kind of shows also in the stats that you showed earlier, where in 2022 and in 2023 he was successful. He didn't start in 2022, but he had a 90 grade, and in 2023. Where he started at 79 grade with 10 sacks and great stats, things to support himself. So he proved that he can do those things consistently year in, year out. If he's pinned his ears back in Robert Saleh's scheme and just got the quarterback. While with Vic Fangio, he can't do those things that you're expecting him to do.
Yeah. I seen that happen too with well, I shouldn't bring him up because he played for us too. Josh Gordon. Remember Josh Gordon?
Josh Gordon?
Is it Josh Gordon? No. What's his name? Josh Norman.
Josh Norman of the corner?
Yeah. He had some success down here in Carolina. They bring him up to Washington to do, be a shutdown corner, and that ain't what Josh Norman do. He's
a zone corner.
Yeah.
He
didn't do well, and they dogged him, and he eventually came to us. He was okay. No,
he was washed by that. I think he was like
31 years old. He was a lot older than he had ran with Bulls and gotten bowled over by Derrick Henry, and it didn't look right at all. But he had some very productive years down here in Carolina, and I think he was on that Super Bowl team when they got beat by the Broncos. I think he was. But
I think that. Go ahead.
It's just my point that sometimes you roll up into a system that they think you're gonna fit here, but you've changed a lot of the math or a lot of the algebra, and it doesn't quite fit your eye. What were you gonna say?
Well, he has, like, if you looked at his stats in 2023. He only started 6 of those games, and he was only in 12 of them. So and he had 2.5 sacks. So if he played, which is like what, 1/3 of an entire season starting, he had 2.5 sacks. Yeah. So I mean, he would have 7.5 sacks in that season, a decent season. He would have a decent, good season at least if he were to just do the pass rushing stuff. He still was a good, at least a ceiling with the Eagles in pass rushing to that extent. He wasn't as good as Robert Saleh's like defense, of course, stuff like that. But that's what happens when your reps aren't just rushing the passer. When your reps aren't just pin your ears back and go get the running back or quarterback. You're going to have less sacks. You're going to have less opportunities to get those players because Huff is pulling back with less snaps at rushing the passer. So there's still evidence that there is a good pass rusher there. It's just that he had less snaps to prove it. Less snaps to do what he's actually great at, and that's why his stuff dipped. And a lot of people were like, "Well, why don't they just have him just go rush the passer and stuff like that?" Well, because if he just did that, that means Vic Fangio would have to change his scheme up for him, and it would if Huff wasn't good at those other stunts they asked him to do, it would leave holes in that defense that other teams could take advantage of because he's not good at that. Yeah. So Vic Fangio was like, well, I got to take him out because he can't do these things that help the rest of the players succeed. Exactly. So it's just even if he's good at one thing, you can't force the issue with him just because it screws the rest of the squad over, the rest of the D-line over, because now they have to adjust for his lack of ability to do the things that Vic Fangio wants him to do. So, uh, but what I'm trying to say is that the minimal reps that you see with Bryce Huff, you can find film right now when he's just rushing the passer with as the Eagles. There's
Oh yeah,
great reps you can look at right now that shows you that he's a good pass rusher. He's a good. I really don't know about him as a run stopper, but I know he can really get around and beat a tackle. I have seen that. So I do think that he could do those things still, and he showed those things with the Eagles. But the Eagles would ask him to do a lot more than just do that, and he can't do that.
yeah, it happens. But
I hated seeing.
hopefully it work. It's gonna work out.
Yeah, I think that because that's all Robert Saleh does with the D linemen is just go like the linebackers, slot corners, take care of the out like those kind of weird stunts, shorts and stuff like that. And the linebackers are going to take care of those gaps and stuff, those natures. So they're not going to ask Huff to do like crazy stunts like that. They're just going to ask him to just rush the passer, pin his ears back. So that's what he's great at. And I'm glad that's what they're doing. The one thing I got tired of seeing that frustrated with Nick Sorensen was watching Leonard. I know Leonard Floyd's good at it. Like that's one of his benefits. And I see Nick Bosa do it, which is not his thing either. Is when I see them drop back into coverage. That drove me nuts. When I saw Nick Bosa drop back like 3 steps, 4 steps, and just like play coverage, I'm like, what is happening? Is this a 3-4 defense right now? And then I see Leonard Floyd back up, and I'm like, okay.
It's like drag racing a bulldozer. Why are we out here? What are y'all doing?
I'm like, he's supposed to be. His thing is rushing the passer. Why are you turning Nick Bosa into a coverage guy, dude? This is stupid. So I would get so. I saw a D tackle do that once with Nick Sorensen's defense. I saw a D tackle drop back, and I was like, "What is happening right now?"
It's cool every now and again, but hey, man, yeah, let's not take this music out a little bit and just give you an eye on what he's possibly capable of. Good inside move, upfield, uses his hands pretty good. Rounds the corner, it's a super stellar. That's 1, 2. Had beat 2 on that one, and that doesn't count as a sack. I think it's just a breakup or a hurry, and it's just showing.
He balances off the tackle really well. Like doesn't get locked up. It doesn't seem.
He uses those hands, man. He uses those hands. You see good extension. You see him low, good bull rush, washing them off and going to make a play, man. Going to make a play. He gets off relatively quick. Look at that. Yeah,
that's he pops good. Like right when he's about to hit. He's really good. It seems from what I've seen right here, is that right when he's about to make contact with the tackle, he has that pop where it's like he makes that move, and it just like he just there's like a flow to it where he pops off the tackle.
Yeah, man.
I like seeing that.
He's got some hezzy with him. Looks like he likes the bull rush. That looks like his favorite thing there. He's trying to get you on your heels and just get into you. One hand longer than 2. Memphis.
He's got it, man.
Yeah, man. He's all right. He's all right.
And honestly, this guy would probably be. And there's what's so great about this is like, at least you're getting a good pass rusher that fits the scheme, and his floor, honestly, is just a good pass rusher, right? Mm-hmm. But like his potential with this low risk that we have for this guy is literally the best player across from Nick Bosa we've ever had. That is the ceiling. That is the potential that you're getting out of this guy. That I really, really do hope that Robert Saleh still knows how to use him, and he still because there is that, like I said earlier, there's still that potential where it doesn't, work out. That's always a possibility, right? I mean,
yeah. But, it always is. I mean,
yeah, and so I don't see that
as well as God forbid, knock on Formica or Wood, injury, something like that.
That changes everything.
I'm a glass half full guy. I simply am. I don't
put water in the cup. That's what I like about you, man.
Yeah,
put some water in the cup. Yeah.
I do not look at what is not there. You can fill a stadium for what's not there, or you can always short the stock. They call them speculators on Wall Street. They're these guys that just no matter what, it's not going to work. The stock's going to fall, and you can do that, but you know, why? That's not, and 50%, 60%, whatever the case, a lot of stocks fall. They do. And the speculators will always call it, yeah, I told you it was gonna fall. We're all gonna die. Well, yeah, I mean, anybody can do that. It's not a big deal, man. The one that the one you need as a speculator, as a, a a stockbroker, is the one that can see the potential in a stock, given its its factors, given its oscillators and indicators, given what you deem historically as some traits that this stock is going to go up and come along and ride for the journey. Because when you go to a financial advisor, you don't want him to just tell you, oh, it's doom and gloom out there, you're gonna lose money. No, man, I need you to help me solidify and secure my future. What should I put my money into that you feel is going to go up? But we got a lot of pessimistic uh prognosticators. That's a 50 Cent word. Go ahead and throw that in there, Red Jet Shell.
I think that happens with every.
They just short the stock, and
it that potential happens with every single signing that goes to a different team anyway. Where like that you could be cynical, you could be down about it, and be like, oh well, he's probably not going to work out. That happens with every player. Some player does terrible, like Zach Bond, for example. He wasn't that great for the Saints.
Yeah.
Moves to the Eagles. Now he's an all-pro linebacker. A different scenario changes the game, changes the paradigm, but there's also potential. No matter who you sign, there's always that potential. He's not going to work out.
Always. Always. Yeah.
Be cynical. You can end up being right every now and again. That does happen. But if you look at the potential and what he was good at and stuff like that, that's where you make your judgments. And he was good with Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh knew how to use him. And I will say this, and I said it before earlier, but I'll say it again. This trade, I haven't seen the bare minimum of cynicism that I've seen from people is I'll wait and see. None of it has been like, this is a trash trade. This is stupid. I haven't seen that. And you know what? That never happens.
That's good. That's good.
That's good. Exactly. So it's like, okay, at least the glass half full here is at least the fan base isn't like shitting their pants because it's like they traded for a trash pass rusher. Everyone's like celebrating it to an extent. I like
this has the potential of being something good, and that's what I'd like to see. Now, if you get out there and crap the bed like Brindle, say, hey, y'all was right. Terradome was a little too optimistic. You brought me down here.
So, like, I told you my expectations for the player, like from floor to ceiling. I told you my ceiling is the best player across Nick Bosa, a double-digit sack guy potentially. My floor is a good pass rusher, just good. Like, I'm not saying like 10 sacks, but maybe like what 7 sacks, 12, maybe that's 13 tackles for a loss.
Solid pass rusher.
What is your floor?
My floor is a solid pass rusher. Give me between 6 and 11 sacks. Between 6 and 11. That you're earning your money. Given the fact that you're going to be a specialist, you're going to come in on third down. We've got first and second with Michael.
Mikel inside on third down.
I am not bringing you here to stop the run. We got a guy for that. I'm bringing you here as a pass rush specialist, putting him in situations where we have earned the right to get after the passer. You're going to see him heavy on 3rd and 4 and more. 3rd and 4 and more is when you want those pass rushers in there. You want the package in there. So he's not going to be a every down guy. He ain't supposed to be. I wouldn't use him in that capacity. We got guys like Collins, who's supposed to be there as a tackle. We got Mike Hill, who's supposed to be there. We got Evan Anderson, who's supposed to be, and of course Nick Bosa is an every down guy with emphasis on rushing the passer. When we put you in, let's get it done. He's going to be. We're looking for the anti-D Ford, who was always non-existent, but just was supposed to come in there and be that dude on third down and 4 or more. That's what you're looking for.
I think that it just to play into what you're saying here is like, yeah, he's supposed to be just the third down guy. Because I can't tell you how many times last year where we have like third and long, and you're like, they're going to convert. They're going to convert. You can't get to that guy. So like, he's going to be that guy to seal that fate there. And Gross Matos and Samo are run stoppers themselves. They're the size they have and the size they bring is Mikael Williams-esque. So they have that depth there. Samo is actually a decent pass rusher as well. So they do have that depth. Yeah, so I do think he's got that tool, and I think he's a hybrid in that extent. So yeah, they have the first and second down figured out. All right, they have that all figured out. The third down was always kind of the question: can we get to the quarterback in time? And Huff is that dude. You're 100% correct. He's a guy that you need to use on third downs. And Mikael Williams, Gross Matos, you can kick inside if you want to. CJ West could potentially be your guy even on third down too.
Man. Yeah, man. CJ West.
So I love that guy. They've addressed all those schematic needs, if that makes sense. They may be rookies, but all of them do something that fits the need. And that one last thing that was always an issue was that third down pass rusher, and then we got it. So there's no more really schematically needs. Experience, you want to question experience? Sure. Yeah. But schematically, you got everything that you need out of these players. So that's what matters most.
And an emphasis is going to go on a little bit more on the front end. Now, I'm a big proponent. You know, we got warring factions in terms of what is more important, the back end and secondary or the front end and the pass rush. They're married, and you need both. But given the fact that we got some injuries back there. We traded away Hufunga. We've lost some experience back there. Like right now at safety, if we were to line up today, who's our free and strong safeties? You know what I mean? So when you have that inexperience in the back end, particularly at safety, you're going to need a very much enthusiastic and potent pass rush to help those younger guys out in the back. That'll help them out tremendously. Until Mustafa up to snuff and he's ready to go because I think he's still nursing that torn ACL. Siegel is a rookie, you know. And I think he's got a couple injuries. So we're looking at like Grant and Pinnock, maybe.
And I believe in those guys. All right. For some reason, everyone's down on them. I'm like, give me a chance.
But it ain't the it ain't, you know, that ain't Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, there's question marks. I'm not gonna lie, there's question marks. But I'm putting water in the cup. I think they have some good in them. Yeah, I think it's
Tommy said Terradome was once a rookie. Everybody was, man. I was a greenhorn. Yes, sir. He was a greenhorn. To address Choa, man. Choa, I know, man. I didn't want to use Josh Norman as an example. I know it's going to bring back memories, but it was just in terms of
he was trash,
the change of scenery. That's all I was saying. Because I was down here in Carolina. I saw he had some very productive years down here in Carolina. And then he got the bag going up there to Washington, and they were asking of him more so than, you know, he had in his capacity. They needed, 50 shots, and you got a 20-round magazine. You ain't gonna do that. That ain't the type of guy he was. And liking it to Bryce Huff here. I think the Eagles were thinking, just off his productivity in New York, all we got to do is just bring him here and we can fit him into a Vic Fangio spot. And he can, he's a good player. He's going to be good. Not necessarily. It's got to be the right scheme for you. Gammon Brown in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Gammon Brown, 49ers win the trade if Huff has impactful rushes and agrees to restructure the final 2 years of his contract to reflect his non-starter status. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. He did restructure his deal with the Eagles so that he could be traded, and that's suitable for the 49ers. So they technically did do that.
Yeah.
But I also don't want him to really. If he's great, he's fantastic. They're going to extend the guy. They're going to give him a contract, or potentially just let him play that one last year and move off from him, which they can do next year. But I just think that I think that personally, if they were restructure his deal, it would come with a contract extension. As that was what would happen. Yeah. But like, if not, have him play on his last year of $17 million, and then have him test free agency if they can't afford a guy because he was so good for us. But it's just that I don't think you need to restructure the deal. I think this deal's already restructured. I think it's good as is, and if he's great for us and he plays out of his market for that, we can't pay him because that is potential. That is a possibility where we're not going to be able to afford him. We move on from him, then that is something that you're going to have to deal with and just be like, okay, move on from him. So there's a cap. There's a point where you cannot just be, all right, let's go ahead and just extend him. There's a point. If he's just good for us, then I would say, yeah, extend the guy. Like if he's just good for us, because then he'll be affordable. $17 million. He'll probably be like, okay, I want another $17 million next year. Then I'll be all for it. But if he balls out, has an excellent year, has 15 sacks or whatever, he's gonna want a fat contract, and then we're not gonna be able to.
You gotta look at the man. He get 15 sacks is daggone good.
He's gone.
He's staying. And that's how I've come up with my own scale of position on what a guy's worth and his value, giving your productivity, giving your production. This is how I look at it. I look at I ain't gonna get into it too much. Let me just give you the nuts and the soup and nuts of it. Pause. A pass rusher should be able to see he is worth $1 million a sack. If we paid him an hourly wage or a weekly wage, you're worth $1 million a sack. A linebacker is worth $1 million for every 10 tackles he makes. Every 10, he's worth that. Now, if you look at his production at the end of the year, and your linebacker ain't got but 80 tackles, but he ain't making but $8 million a year, you're all right. You got good value.
Listen, that rate has gone up because, what was it? I think pass rushers right now making $35-40 million right now, and they're not crossing that line.
And you're getting hosed. You're getting hosed. If you making $22 million a year, you better have me 22 sacks.
Really? So you're expecting? So
that's how it is.
All right. So I have to disagree with that a little bit.
A sack for every million.
Sack, and then other ones as well, because then you're asking Bryce Huff to be a 17 sack guy because he's paying $17 million. So you're saying he should be asking 17 sacks?
You got to get 17 sacks. If you're not getting 17 sacks, you ain't worth $17 million.
All right, I think sacks are important, but I don't think they're that bad because you gotta get tackles for a loss are important. Tackles are important. I don't know about that.
A pass rush specialist now with every down guy, you can include that too. You can give if you want to, you can throw in $5 million for a tackle for loss. How many ever tackles for loss? You can throw that. You can throw in every 10 tackles like you did with the linebackers as well. Like a Nick Bosa, what's he worth? $1 million a sack, $5 million per tackle for loss, and $1 million for every 10 tackles or something like that. You can quantitatively do it. A receiver, you know what a receiver's worth? $1 million for every 100 yards and $250,000 for every touchdown. That's what he's doing.
Oh, dude, the rate's gone up, brother.
If he's getting more than that, then
Everyone's getting. Well,
that's
okay,
it.
I'm not trying to like disagree with you here, but like that means everyone's getting overpaid, man. That means everybody's getting overpaid because no one's matching that. Because you're asking Bryce Huff to make 17 sacks. He's not getting 17 sacks.
And what you get, I have to adjust for inflation on it, and I see what you're saying. This is what you do. Look at the best receiver in the most productive season in a year. Divide that up on what he did and the money that he makes, and that is what he should be making. That's what a quarterback should be making. So for quarterbacks, it was $1 million for every touchdown minus the interceptions. If you threw 41 touchdowns and had 10 interceptions, you were supposed to be at 31 million. But this was 5-6 years ago. So what I'll do is make it 1.7 million per touchdown minus the interception. That's where you should be. You see what I'm saying?
So 2 million. Essentially, like 2 million.
I have to look at the best quarterback and the best stats and adjust it to his numbers. And that's how you know the value you're getting with a quarterback.
For me, it's for me personally, it's where do you rank with the rest of the league? Like, am I paying you to be a top 10 pass rusher? Then are you top 10 in this year? Are you actually worth that amount of money based on what your rank is? Are you getting the value compared to other teams and what they're bringing themselves to their pass rushers? Are you worth that value to where you're at and what your production is?
Well, that's how
I look at it.
It's the same thing. The value of a pass rusher is that he gets sacks, right? So take the best pass rusher, divide up his millions by the pass rush, and it's going to go according to what you're supposed to be paid.
Yeah, but that 1.7 would correlate to a definitive number where, like, if someone had 20 sacks and someone else had 15 sacks, you would say that's not worth it. If they were getting paid $35 million, when I would say that is worth it. If you're getting paid $35 million, you get 15 sacks. I think it's a phenomenal year. I think it's an elite season. So it's just kind of like that would put you in a top 10, top 5-ish kind of argument as a pass rusher. But I just don't think that the rate changes every single year, and the rate is what you're getting paid should be based on where you're placed at top as a pass rusher, because the number is going to constantly go up. So it cannot be a definitive number of 2 million, 1.5 million, because the number for pass rushers change all the time. Like right now, it's $40 million for a pass rusher. For an elite one, top 2, top 1 pass rusher, $40 million. So if your number was 1.7 or 2 million, you're expecting 20 sacks from that guy.
All right, this is what I'm saying. Who led the league in sacks last year?
Trey Hendrickson, 17.5.
He had 17.5 sacks. Is he the highest paid sacker or pass rusher in the league?
He wants to be at least 35 million.
When he sets the market at 35, we're gonna take 35 divided by however many sacks he got, and that will be your quantitative value on what it's supposed to be. How you're paying your pass rusher. You see what I'm saying? If he had 17, let's say they're gonna pay.
But Myles Garrett is a better pass rusher than Trey Hendrickson, and he didn't lead the league in sacks. But Myles Garrett is definitively better.
But looking at what anybody else makes in a sack, you just judge it on the sack. You give value of the sack for a pass rusher. You give value on the touchdown for a receiver. You for yards, you give value on the yards for a runner. You just put quantitative value on the productivity of a running back, and that's how you should pay him. Look at the best one, divide it up in his salary, and that's how you know you're getting good production. So if you have a bum, which none of these guys are bum, but if you have a bum that only gets 500 yards and he's making 10 million, you know you're getting hosed. You're getting screwed because Saquon Barkley had X amount of yards and he is paid this way.
But that's where but if let's say 500 yards, $10 million, 500 yards, but if the best wide receiver was only getting 700 or 800, you'd say that's pretty good, right? So it's based on where you rank amongst your peers than you are necessarily what you're doing every single. The money wise of the value of each play and what it is. You can do that, but if you go based on what your whatever the player is ranked among your peers, that rate can change, and your expectations are not sealed to 1.7, 2 million, or 500 for this and things of that nature. You could be like, okay, amongst the average, amongst your peers, where do you rank? I'm not going to pay. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't do that because then every player would immediately not be able to meet that expectation, and every player would end up getting overpaid in the end. So I see what you're saying. Like you need to look at it like that. Like go get your million, go get that sack, go make it happen. But if you're going to pay someone 5 years, for example, this amount of money, that rate's going to change next year. That rate can go up or down next year, year after that, year after that, year after that. And so every year that player will not meet expectations or defeat expectations one way or another. So it's just kind of like.
But as an organization,
it's not really a consistant number. That's what I'm trying to say.
As an organization, you know when you're overpaying, and as a player, you'll know when you're underpaid, given your production. It's just, I mean, like this. How are they going to rank pass rushers?
But production is based on where do you rank amongst your peers?
Yeah. You're saying rank. How are they going to rank a pass rusher? Who's the best pass rushers?
Myles Garrett.
How many sacks did he have?
I believe 15 or 14.
All right. If he's the best pass rusher at 15 million, divide up whatever his salary is in quantitative value of each sack. And this is how you know when you have when you're paying somebody, if you're paying them too much or not enough, given the best of the best. You can make, if it's Myles Garrett that you want to make,
but that number can change the next year.
But for this year, Wolfie, for this year, you
don't sign players to 1 deal. You sign players to 5-year deals.
Okay. No. Let's move on because he ain't getting it. He ain't getting it. If you paid Jerry Rice $1 million per touchdown in 1987, he was the best receiver in the game. Jerry Rice was worth $22 million that year.
And that can change the next year after that.
Everybody else will follow suit. If you weren't the best, how many touchdowns did you have? I ain't have but 6. 6, you're worth $6 million. Am I paying you $6 million a year?
Does the market go down? Does the market go down for players?
It's always going to be.
If a pass rusher is $40 million, right? And then the next year, the best one is Trey Hendrickson, for example, 17 and a half sacks, double that. It's $35 million. So you're saying the next year, that this year, all pass rushers that are good should only pay $35 million, not 40, because that's exactly, because that wouldn't be the case. Numbers go up, payments go up. So that wouldn't work.
But the sack stays the same, and the value of a sacker stays the same, or a pass rusher will stay the same. You're just assigning value. You're assigning value to what a NFL pass rusher does. That's all you're doing. And that's how you'll know if you're paying him correctly. They establish what's called market value, don't they?
Market value, yeah.
The market value of the top wide receivers. How do you think you can go to Over the Cap or any of these other places and say his market value is $22 million a year? How do you think they get that number?
Because based on the next player, okay, well, I'm one of the top, I'm a top 3. So what we're doing is we're going to give you more money, even though you're a top 3, but you're not the number 1, you're not the best. We're going to go ahead and give you more money than the best guy. So you're saying that next year I'm expecting you to do better than that best guy that had that last year.
They're projecting that you will have the productivity on a quantitative value of touchdowns and yards as a receiver, on sacks as a pass rusher, on quarterback touchdowns over interceptions. That's how they're looking at your projections and your productivity. You have to give a quantitative value for the matrix for every position in what they do. Based on that, that's what that player is worth.
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree, man. We'll have to agree to disagree on this one. This is one of those things where we're just not going to agree on it. Because
they continually pay different positions, and they establish a market value for the position. How do you think they're doing that?
They're doing it based on how the market has grown from the very beginning. And next year, if the top 5 guy wants to get paid, they're going to pay that guy most likely the most money in the NFL. But the number of your expectations of what a player should get, this player should get 10 sacks if he gets paid $20 million, doesn't work because that number changes the very next year every single time. So you're expecting the guy to get 10 million. Okay, I'm paying this guy $2 million a sack. So the next year, if it's 30 million, then I expect that guy to have 15 sacks. If he gets 40 million, then I'm expecting that guy after year 3 to get 20 sacks. You see what I'm saying? Like the expectation will change every single year for your pass rusher that you paid for. And that wouldn't work. It's not fair. It's based on what was that guy getting paid at the time. So the number for that sack should change. Sure, the rate should change for that player, where it's like, okay, you paid him $2 million for that guy. You paid $2 million per sack. So then the next year after that, based on how that number went up, you'd pay, okay, 12 and a half. Then now it's $2.5 million a sack. Then it's $3 million if you want to break it down that way. But that the rate changes every single time, every single year.
It is, because it's going to go up based on, the salary cap goes up. Everything will go up. Everything will go up. This worked perfectly 10 years ago at $1 million a touchdown over interception. It worked perfectly then. But now that the best are making more money, I had to make it 1.7 million now. So it's you're worth 1.7 million
How much
per touchdown.
We're gonna have to we're just gonna have to agree to disagree, brother. That happens. We're not gonna agree on everything. That's just how it's going to be. I understand what you're saying. I just don't agree with it. You understand what I'm saying. You don't agree with it, and that's just how we look at it, right?
I think
you expect
I think you're not understanding why I'm giving a quantitative value to the production of a position.
No, I do. I just don't agree with it, and that's okay. Like I don't agree with you assessing a player that way. I think you should.
How else do
dress a
you
player.
how
should
else
dress a
would
player
you
based-
how else would you assess a linebacker if not tackles? How do you think they rank them? How do you think they
Not
make the
because
Pro Bowl?
you're giving me 10 sacks, so I'm gonna okay, you give me 10 sacks, so I'm gonna give you $1 million a sack. No, it's like where do you rank amongst your peers that I'm going to go ahead and give you this much money ranked upon your peers, not based on I think the value of sacks is this, so this is what you're worth. That it's okay, man. Like I think we should just
that's how they establish the baseline to pay a player. They're giving a quantitative value. Okay.
Yeah. No. They do it based on market, what the market is, and where that player is ranked amongst their peers. Not
and
because
they rank it based on their stats. Wolfie, they you get the rank, the three highest tacklers in the National Football League were Wagner.
So if I paid a guy $20 million to get 10 sacks, right? Next year that rate changes because some player
the rate
should now they should restructure their contract to fit that narrative. That's not how that works, because now that player, no matter what, is going to be overpaid, no matter what the next year after that, because now the expectation changes. What you're saying is the player should now restructure his contract to fit the narrative of how much.
I ain't talking about restructuring a contract. I'm talking about you'll know if you're overpaying or paying a player the right amount based on the productivity of what they do at a particular position. Running backs run, right, to get yards. Right? You're a good running back if you get 2,000 yards, correct? Aren't you a good? Wouldn't that 2,000 yards in a season? Is that not good? Is that not offensive player of the year? Isn't that good?
That's good.
Okay,
it's elite.
We'll start it there. How much does he make? He makes X amount of dollars. I don't know how much Saquon Barkley made this year. I don't remember his contract. I think Saquon's getting what, 17 a year, something like that. You take Saquon Barkley and divide it up.
He's getting paid 20, I think.
We'll say 20 million. All right, he got 2,000 yards and 20 million. You divide that up by however many hundred yards that is, and then you assess everyone else, no matter what they did, and you can see the productivity and how you're paying them.
There's a cap. Okay, there's a cap how much a player, a general area in yards, a player will only be able to get. So if Saquon Barkley is getting paid if he got 2,000 yards, he should get the max amount of money. But that number, since no one can really beat that number, no one should ever get paid more than whatever that 2,000 yards was established. So no one should ever, at any point, a running back should never get paid more than 2,000. So whatever Eric Dickerson was getting paid for how much yards for all the yards he got, no one should ever have gotten more money than Eric Dickerson at any point, is what you're saying to me. Because how much money he was getting. Because that was the rate of what he gets. But that was the cap he set. So Saquon Barkley should never get paid more than Eric Dickerson ever did.
He does get paid more.
But you're saying he shouldn't because he's never beat Eric Dickerson's rate of 2,000, whatever his yards was. So he should never. No,
Wolfie.
It's based on the rate of your players. Then it's based on the tier of your. Then okay, so if I had a set of players and you're the number one guy, you're gonna get paid more money. So that's what I'm saying. You're getting paid more money based on your peers, not based on the rate of whatever this 100 yards, this sack, this whatever. You're getting paid based on the rate of the player that you're currently playing with. Because then what you're saying is that then no one should ever get paid than Eric Dickerson ever should have.
No. You just established Eric Dickerson as the quantitative value cap and divide up his productivity for yards, and that's how you can look at what someone is worth.
Look, man, I'm trying to be peaceful here and being like, hey, let's just agree to disagree on this. We can do that. We can do that.
All
it's
right.
possible.
Yeah. All right. I got it. Let's move on. Let's go to. I've moved on. I ain't even there no more. Let's move on. We got any OTA news?
OTAs.
Yeah. What have you been?
Any
hearing?
OTA news?
Yeah. What have you? What's the latest and greatest? What have you been hearing in terms of who looks good, who looks bad, who's slow, who's quick?
From what I've heard, is that Mikael Williams is looking like an absolute stud. That's what I hear. Okay. That he looks really good. Even Larry Krueger, who doesn't like Mikael Williams, is being like, he looks really good, really stout there. Obviously, there's no pads on, so it's kind of, it's hard to really assess a player without them pads. But if you want to look at the bright side of things and looking at how great players look at OTAs, Mikael Williams, I heard, it looks like an absolute stud. Jordan Watkins, both players that you and I absolutely loved after we looked at their film, broke him down. Those are two players. That's a player that you and I believed in. I believe in. He looks fantastic. Like when you watch him play, it looks like he's running 49ers routes. So Jordan Watkins, I've heard, looks outstanding. Even Grant Cohn has said that he looks great, which is crazy.
And speaking of shorting the stock.
So Jordan Watkins, and then I've heard Nick Martin. Nick Martin has been probably one of the best, if not the best player at OTAs from what I've heard. Everyone's saying he's quick, he's fast, he's picking Fred's brain left and right. I think he had a pass breakup on a screen that he read really well. So I've heard nothing but great things about a lot of these players. The only players that I've heard that were bad or not relatively good was the offensive lineman. Shocker. Fryer apparently does not look good. One of the offensive linemen we picked up. Andre Dillard wasn't there, which I'm shocked by. I don't know why he's not there. I'll try not to speculate, but it's kind of wild that he's not there. And then I really haven't heard bad about everything's great, right? For the most part, usually there's like some player, this person looks terrible, this person looks bad. I know somebody out there, the one that shall not be named, said that CMC looks slow.
Yeah.
Like he's in the fifth gear. I heard about that. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Because everyone else that I've seen has said that CMC looks amazing. He's doing all the normal stuff that he normally does at OTAs and stuff like that. I'm not expecting CMC to go full burst, full speed, all out at OTAs. I'm not expecting that. Like that'd be ridiculous to expect something like that right now. CG brought up Austin Pleasance looks solid. Someone I believed in last year looks absolutely fantastic. I think he'll be a great swing tackle. I didn't go in the predictions of like, hey, Austin Pleasance is going to be the swing tackle, but I liked what he brought to the table last year. I'm glad we brought him back. I'm glad that we can assess him, and I'm glad that he's doing great. So I'm ecstatic about this team. I'm ecstatic by OTAs, and I believe it's still going on now. I haven't heard much updates since last week. I think Friday was our last update. But yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled. I can't wait to see Bryce Huff there, to be honest with you. Like once we see Bryce Huff there, see him burst and see how he's doing, that'd be great. And then CJ West, I think he was there and he's doing some stuff. He looks good. And then Alpha Collins obviously still working on his injury. And also his contract hasn't been signed either. So, so we haven't seen much from him yet. But yeah, man, I mean, I absolutely love what I'm hearing from OTAs. I mean, this is the best OTAs we've ever had. like without a doubt, without a doubt.
So, what was the catalyst of Grant Cohen saying that uh, our guy CMC is looking slow? For, because I ain't hear it firsthand. It was all the buzz, and I think you can best believe that that's how he likes to do it. But what was his definitive evidence in terms of him looking slow? Or didn't
Uh,
have gear.
he says that he didn't look like he could hit a fifth gear. That was his. He just looked slow. That's all he said, and that he can't. He wasn't hitting his fifth gear or something. He can't hit a fifth gear, and it's like, what is he doing? All the normal stuff that you usually see him at OTAs do. From what I've heard from Larry Krueger, Dave Lombardi, Guy Haberman, all the guys that go there have said that he's doing all the normal stuff that CMC usually does at a typical rate that he normally does. So if that's the case, then he's doing fine. He's great. And he looks normal. And that's what you want to see from a guy who had the injuries that he had. So his catalyst, his reasoning is that he hasn't seen CMC do a full sprint, whatever crazy thing a CMC does. But I'm not expecting that out of OTAs. I'm expecting can he do cuts? Does it look like he's doing cuts? Yes, from what I've heard, it looks like he's doing cuts. Is he doing the normal exercises they normally does, which is that weird little skippy thing, if you know what I'm talking about? He does like a little skippy thing sometimes. He does that. He's doing all the things that he normally does in OTAs, all the normal things he does in practice, just fine. And so the reason is, honestly, I think personally it's just some reason to look down on a guy and just grift. It's just to some people, it's kind of like how you put water in the cup. Some people just look at the cup half empty. And that's what's happening here. It's like, what's the negative thing that I'm seeing from this? And I'm going to cling to it. That's usually how it goes down. And, but I would say this, what's really funny is David Lombardi straight up took shots at Grant Cohn. I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
I saw a little something on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, he straight up I think it was he attacked not attacked, but he went to Jesse Naylor because Jesse Naylor said, I don't know, he looks slow in film and stuff like that. Even though Jesse wasn't there, he says that he looks slow and doesn't look the same. From what I've seen the film, he looks fine. He looks exactly the same to me. But Grant Cohn, because Jesse is a Grant Cohn disciple,
he's a Cohnite, yeah.
He's going to rehash what he says and what he thinks, and that's usually how that goes down. So I am not surprised, but it's very interesting to see that the friction between these reporters is just getting more real and more intense. And I think it's absolutely hilarious what's happening there. But yeah, so there's obviously friction right now between those reporters and what they have to say. But I usually go with what is the majority saying is usually probably the truth. That's usually the consensus. So if Guy Haberman, for example, thought CMC didn't look the same or slow, he would say that, and that would push that narrative that he doesn't look the same, and that would help out Grant Cohn, right? That'd be evidence to Grant Cohn and Jesse Naylor. But if one corner is saying something, but the rest of the three corners are saying something differently, so if three table legs have the same exact size, but the one in the far left, that fourth table leg isn't the same size as the rest, which one is the outlier here? Which one is the one that's the wrong size here? It's that fourth table leg that's not the same size as the rest of the three. So you go with consensus of what everyone else is saying. And the consensus is that CMC looks great. He looks exactly the same. So it's like, okay, you need to drop this defense that he doesn't look the same. You might be right in the regular season, but if you're going based on what everyone else is saying, the consensus, you got to go with that because we're not there. We don't see it. And so, yeah, you have to go with those eyes. So, and I trust Larry Krueger to say, CMC doesn't look the same. I trust him to say that. He would honestly say that. Like, if I don't like this guy and I don't think he looks the same, I would say that. Guy Haberman would say the same thing. He'd be like, I don't trust this guy, or whatever. Dave Lombardi would say everyone looks great. So I would definitely say, okay, fine, that's fine. But what are these two guys saying? What is the rest of the guys that were there that were saying this? So that's what I would say about that.
And Bebop Jones is hitting the classic Allen Iverson line. We talking about game. We talking about.
Not just practical, like
I'm a
OTAs.
Bebop.
Like, why are
I'm
you
a
going
Virginia
full
guy.
OTAs?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want a guy come off his bilateral to go full go like that. Like, what is he trying to do? What is he trying to accomplish if he were to go out there and do a full sprint? You know?
Yeah. I brought up the depth chart because I'm hearing, and it's not showing it here on our last, and they're really, really good on it. I heard Ricky P's hamstring is tango uniform. We have women on the in the chat, so I'm not gonna tell you what the acronym of that. It's a military but
there's women in the military. There's women in the military.
Yeah, but these are ladies here, so I heard it's tango uniform. I heard his hamstring is bothering him again. Is Ricky P always hurting? It's a couple of just you know. Have you noticed that? Well, last year he got shot, but even before then, he was in a blue jersey with the reported shoulder injury, right? And I don't know. It's a new thing to me. We're not even in pads, and it is not game week. How is it that I didn't hear about this in the 80s and the 90s, but guys can get hurt just just walking around and stuff.
Back then, you didn't have to be as straightforward. You could lie about something and get away with it a lot more than you could, especially with the access that we get. Like, you could see this player get hurt, and the reports will come out like instantly. So I think that Ricky Pearsall played when he came back, game 8, what was it, week 8 or whatever. He didn't miss a game. He was full healthy, full go, ready to play. He played all the entire season. So that's important there. But John Lynch has said that if there was a game this week, he would play.
Okay.
That Ricky Pearsall would play. So the hamstring tweak is just a precaution because it's OTAs. He should be ready to go for training camp. And they're like, let's just not risk that or anything like that. So they're taking precautions. But it's definitely something to jot down. It's definitely something to keep record of, because you want to see if there's a consistency there.
Like,
yeah,
injuries and stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay.
But I wouldn't take stock yet that he's injury prone. Like, I wouldn't take stock just yet. But it's definitely something you put down the manifest and be like, okay, well, he's hurt here. He had that shoulder injury there before, but the rest of outside being shot, he would have started week 1 for the 49ers last year. He played all 7, 8 games or whatever he had last year. And he did all the OTA, he did all the offseason stuff. He was fine. And then just one tweak of his hamstring. I wouldn't say it's too I wouldn't worry about it just yet. If you ask me.
And Red Jet Shell is giving their information. Shout out to Red Jet Shell. Giving a little information. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen, on both. It helps out the algorithm, and it helps me get closer to 500.
Tear it on to 500, baby.
Trying to get it. Trying to zone on in. Last up, we're gonna have GOATs by division. And at the top of the show, Wolfie explained to everybody kind of the exercise here. He was talking in reference to, we're looking for the absolute GOAT of every team. We're going to go through the whole NFL, but as fate would have it, we're going to start out with the NFC West. When you think of this organization and you have a pantheon of most organizations, I'm giving it to you a bit altruistically, if you will. Everybody has like their four on Mount Rushmore, can only be four, but there is one GOAT of every organization that is the face of the organization. And this is throughout time. This isn't just isolated to this year, correct, Wolfie? It's just when you think this team, this is the guy. This is this is their GOAT, or it should be if
There's
they
their
if they knew what they were doing. Um, for the San Francisco 49ers, you and I both agree. It is Jerry Rice for the San Francisco 49ers. And please, everybody drop in the chat who you think the San Francisco 49ers GOAT is. And
do you want to?
it with no reservation in terms of time or position. Just who is the greatest 49er ever in your eyes? What were you about to say, Wolf?
Do you want to get Red Jet in on this? Because I think she said a couple of ones that she liked, she believed in. I think earlier on in the chat, ones that she'd want to. She said Rice. She agrees with us on that. She said the Rams won, Cardinals won, and Seahawks won already.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting.
Well, I was going to kick it around to who would you say the Rams go? Rams go.
You're cutting out. I can't hear you, man.
Who do you think the Rams is?
I would say personally, the Rams one is this might, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but it's got to be Kurt Warner. Like, why would it not be that guy? I understand that like there's other players and stuff that's great, but like he was, not only is his story phenomenal and what he did for the Rams, right? I get that.
Yeah.
He won the Super Bowl. One of the prime reasons why they won a Super Bowl. And I know some people say Eric Dickerson. That's also one that came to my mind there. I understand that. But I just think that you won this Super Bowl with this guy, took you to the pinnacle of success. He started this whole legacy of what the Rams were, took him out of poverty. And I think that he was just the catalyst of all that. I understand that, Marshall Faulk, the running back, was also part of that and all the rest of the situation. But the man literally was part of the pinnacle of your entire success of your entire team. Started off with the legacy of your entire team. Like if they won you a Super Bowl, they're one of the reasons why you won the Super Bowl. And the story itself is insane to be undrafted like that, and to go through all the emotions that he did. The improbability of what he did is insane. To go from fourth string, obviously, the supermarket stuff. We heard about that story and all of that. I just think from story to the accomplishment to what what he signifies for the team, the start of the team, it's got to be without a doubt to me, Kurt Warner. And I understand Eric Dickerson. I get he's one of the greatest running backs of all time. To me, definitely a top 3 running back of all time. If you were to ask me, I get that. But I'm talking about as a Ram himself and what he did. I agree. I'm not saying I agree, but I truly think this is a hot take. And I feel like a lot of people would say Eric Dickerson and I understand. I'm not going to fight you on that. You can disagree. Feel it. But for me personally, I just think that someone for what he did and what that story was, you can't ignore that, and that's what he has to be a face of that. So that's why I think he's the face, in my opinion. Of so when I think of Rams, I think of Kurt Warner.
Okay,
that's the first face that comes to my head.
I can see why you say that. I definitely see. He was the one that the story is incredible. Trent Green goes down in a preseason game from I think it was Rodney Harrison that got him toward the ACL. Let me see. I think he's going down. But for me, because Kurt Warner did it in St. Louis, I got to go with Eric Dickerson.
Okay.
Because he was the Los Angeles Ram.
You see them as two different teams.
Yeah. Oh. He was the Rams Ram, and he still is to this day, Honorable mention to great Deacon Jones. Deacon Jones, and they had back in the day they were called the fearsome foursome. It was Deacon Jones, Rosie Greer, Merlin Olsen, and there was another guy. I can't quite remember, but they were absolutely incredible. Deacon Jones coined the phrase "sack the quarterback." That's where that comes from. That was
I didn't know that.
Deacon
I didn't know that.
Jones.
Learn something new every day. I did not know that.
Yeah, Deacon Jones started. He said because before 1982, this is how incredible Lawrence Taylor was. They didn't record sacks. I don't know if it was just called tackle for loss. I go back and try to look at old film to see what the commentators called it. They tackled the quarterback. I don't know what you call it besides a sack. It was Deacon Jones who said, I just hate quarterbacks, and I wish I could just put them all in a big bag and beat them with a bat. Deacon,
Damn.
Deacon Jones
That's
was
hilarious.
real. And of course, like you said, Kurt Warner with that, but I got to go with Eric Dickerson. Eric Dickerson is my man. He was sweet.
Yeah, if that's your criteria of the Los Angeles Rams and the St. Louis not the same, I would agree with you 110% on that then for sure. Like I think Eric Dickerson would be my second for sure. That's right behind Kurt Warner. But if that was the criteria, 110%, I agree with you, Eric Dickerson. Like that's not a wrong answer whatsoever.
Yeah, and Kurt Warner's not a wrong. I mean, it's still the Ram organization, and they count that ring. Believe me, they do. They definitely do. But
I'm gonna steal that though. I'm be like, yeah, but that was the St. Louis Rams, so technically you guys got one ring.
Yeah, you weren't in LA. Oh, I know if we moved the organization because I take a hit from on Laugh Sports and Chill, man. I hope they have a show here soon. My man Rod Calley's on that one, man. But Dan the man always gets to, he said, y'all ain't really this San Francisco 49, y'all in Santa Clara. I'm like, dude, y'all moved the place all the way over to the,
I would say, like, what do you mean then? I guess yours don't count. Then what are you talking about? It's like,
it ain't really, it's not in San Francisco, it's in Santa Clara. I'm like, everybody does that, dude. But
they're still called the San Francisco 49ers, not the Santa Clara 49ers.
Yeah, they didn't change the whole name. Y'all changed the name, the city, the state, the address, the zip code. You had
we
to
stay in this vicinity of the
San
Francisco,
yeah, we're in the greater Bay Area. Yeah. All right, what we got for this is gonna be a tough one. The Arizona Cardinals. Who would you say is the GOAT of the Cardinals?
I gotta say Kurt Warner because it took him to a Super Bowl. I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The undrafted story. It's a great story.
I ain't think about that. He did take him to a Super Bowl. Yes.
Same thing I said about the Rams. He's an undrafted quarterback. Great story. Took him to a Super Bowl.
You can use it for two teams. You can use that.
But on a serious note, I feel like it's almost, I don't know. It has to be Larry Fitzgerald. That is for me personally the pinnacle of Arizona. Like he was on and off the field just an elite, like just this great player on and off the field. He was a good role model. He lived up to the hype even more so. He's considered a top 5 wide receiver of all time in those conversations. He's a phenomenal wide receiver. And when you think of Arizona, the face that comes to my mind is Larry Fitzgerald, the dreadlocks, and him catching balls and triple teams and doing crazy things like that. Arizona's gone through quarterbacks, running backs. And I can't really think of many defensive players that really come out of there. I guess you could say Patrick Peterson. There's some good players that came out of there. But if you're talking about like pinnacle wise and the greatness, and considering where he ranks in greatness of his position, top five potentially, arguably in that situation as like the fifth guy. I feel like I can't think of another player that comes close to his
Yeah.
success. And I feel like I think you have a different guy just based on what you said earlier. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you say there because I can't think of another Arizona Cardinal, even though the Cardinals have been around since 1920. They're like the oldest teams in the
Ironically, I go all the way back to the St. Louis Cardinals. They were there
That's
in the day. Yes.
So I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna say Larry Fitzgerald is my guy.
Well, way back in the day, man, they had a guy named Jim Hart who played quarterback for him. He wore number 17, and they had a really talented receiver, and this is good for Travis Hunter. He played receiver as well as cornerback. It's been done before. His name was I want to say Green, Earl Green, maybe, or I can't remember his name. It was Green. He was really, really, really. But uh, it's consensus all the way around, man. It's got to be Larry Fitzgerald. Consummate pro, gave you all he had, humbled himself, and went to the slot. And in the latter parts of your years, it's a lot of diva receivers that say, "Dude, I don't play slot. I am X, and you better ask somebody. Don't you ever ask me to do something like that." It's like almost asking him to clean the toilet. And not only did he go
changed,
to the slot, he made the slot the feature of said offense.
He made it popular.
Phenomenal guy, consummate professional. And every indication now that I'm saying all these great things and giving him his flowers, watch some come out next week, but but I always like that kid. He's second generation. He came up under his dad was a reporter in Minnesota, and he was the ball boy for the Vikings when he met Randy Moss and Chris Carter and them and that man, and he just came up an ACC guy, University of Pittsburgh. He went to Fork Union Military Academy, which we played in when I went to junior college. Great guys come out of that, man. Get your grades right, go to a major college, and boom, things happen great for you. It's Fitzgerald, man.
It's Fitzgerald. And it's to play off what you said there. I totally agree that he kind of started like the popularity of the slot. Like he made it cool to be a slot receiver. Because right after that, I remember that being like can he do slot? Is he willing to do slot? And then now all of a sudden, Justin Jefferson's doing slot. Jamar Chase is doing slot. They love doing that. And he necessarily just made this like a popular thing and not a slight against wide receivers. Like, you don't think I could just beat the outside guy? And it's like, no, you can do outside and inside now. So he made it popular, and I think that's something thrown him. And another thing is he could have gone to another team. He had multiple opportunities to be like, well, I'm leaving Arizona.
Oh yeah,
this isn't working out. He stayed loyal, like throughout. Like he had multiple opportunities to get out of there. Everyone was like, dude, you got to win a ring. Go somewhere else. He's like, no, I'm Arizona through and through. That's something you cannot. That's very rare to come by a player. It's just like, well, I'm not going to ring chase. I'm just going to stay loyal. That's especially an organization that.
Kylie Young brings up the point, man. Larry should have had a Super Bowl ring, if not for Pittsburgh in that last minute. Was it Santana Holmes? Santana Moss. Where I get Holmes from? Santana.
There's another one that's
Santana Moss. He makes that incredible catch from Big Ben at the end. And a turnover, man, a turnover down in the red zone will absolutely kill you. That
James Harrison run all
that
the way
James Harrison just at the end of the quarter, it's a 14-point swing, man. Although it wasn't lost there, you will go back and say at least you should have came away with a field goal in the lead at halftime. You go down 7. They took those points off the board, because you're just supposed to at least kick the field goal. And you run it all the way back. That's at least a 10-point swing, if not a 14-point swing. And Larry Fitzgerald was on his way to being the MVP of that game, man. He had busted them up with, I think it was a minute left on a small, skinny slant in the middle of the field, and he was off to the races. He had split those linebackers, and he was in the wind. That hair was back here, and it won't nothing. It won't nothing nobody could do. All they could look and say, "He gone, he gone." But I really like that kid, man. I really like it. He a grown man now, but he's great guy.
He's one of my favorite. He was one of my favorite players, even though they were rivals to the 49ers. He was one of my favorite players just growing up because I just watched him play and stuff. Yeah, I totally agree. Me and Callie I know I'm not Callie's favorite guy in the world, but him and I can totally agree on this Larry Fitzgerald thing. He deserves a ring, man. Like I think he deserves like an honorable ring somewhere for just being like that rare, outstanding guy that you want your son to be like this guy.
Yeah,
like,
man.
That's how pinnacle this dude was. And
that's a great statement. Yeah, you want your son to be like that.
yeah, it makes you want to cry almost, the fact that he never got it. You want to cry a little bit. You're like, this dude I know I just said top 5 wide receiver, but he's like easily probably like the number one guy outside of maybe Dan Marino you think should have won a Super Bowl ring at some point. Like if you made a list of top 5 guys that should have, which is a segment we could do at some point. We do top 5 guys who deserve a ring and never got one. Larry Fitzgerald easily is in that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
God, he was so good. And I hate when people diss Larry Fitzgerald these days because kids don't understand.
I don't know who
they diss him hard. And I'm like,
you better get your mouth right.
I was
you will not do it around me.
So because people are saying like Justin Jefferson right now is better than Larry Fitzgerald, and I wouldn't say that right now. I would
Incredible talent. I can see why you say that, just given his value and the numbers he's putting up. But ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna have to do it a little bit longer and a little bit stronger to even be in the neighborhood of one Larry Fitzgerald.
If he did this. Because Larry Fitzgerald, his longevity and his consistency is what really makes him as great. When you think Larry Fitzgerald, you think of the consistency and the longevity. Because he's been doing it until he's like 37. He was playing great and having like 1,000-yard seasons, playing phenomenal. Yeah. If Justin Jefferson could keep doing what he's doing to like 31, 32, then I could be like, okay, I can see why he's better.
You move him up.
I would move him above him at that point because what he's doing is phenomenal. But Larry Fitzgerald did it year in, year out for 17, whatever years it was. And I just with
not the greatest quarterbacks,
trash quarterbacks. And so if Justin Jefferson keep doing this, I would give him his props then. But I think it's just too soon for some of these young guys that people are just crowning for the 4 years that they're great, and it's just too soon to do that.
That's fair. Yeah. Lastly, we have in our division the Seattle Sea Chickens. Who is the GOAT of the Seattle Seahawks?
I know you're number one. I know it. I know who you're going to say. I know what you're going to say, and I'm not going to say that guy. This could just be a recently buy. It should honestly be this guy that I know you're going to say. It should be him because they still talk about him to this day. When you think of a great, he's the one that just really separates himself, it seems like, no matter what. But I got to go, and I know some people will say Russell Wilson because he won in the Super Bowl and stuff like that. And there's so many players to choose from. There's just so many. But I'm going to go with Marshawn Lynch.
Whoa!
I'm going to say Marshawn Lynch.
All right.
Right now, I'm going to say – because –
hot take.
I'm going to say that because what the history that he made with the I think they actually have a saying for it, but the earthquake he started, that run he had. I was in Washington. We felt it. I felt that. It was crazy. It was a real thing.
Man.
And the sheer fear that he brought to the 49ers on offense, like when our defense faced me, like, he was going to do something. The fear that as every single year out as him as a running back for 8 whatever years it was insane, elite, one of the greatest performances every single time. You think that guy's gonna get tackled? Hell nah. Not to mention, he still supports the Seahawks to this day. He will not do anything that he hates the 49ers to this day. Still represents the Seahawks like every single time he chances he gets. There's no animosity there. So like face wise, when you think of Marshawn Lynch, you think of Seattle Seahawks, not the Buffalo Bills where he started, but just the legacy that he left behind. Like I still think about how good he was, and it's just insane how no one can bring this guy down. And he had the ability to take it to the house, not because of speed, but because you couldn't bring him down. Like no matter what, it's as if he had eyes in the back of his head. Seriously, how does he see guys coming up from behind him, pause, and be able to jump, dodge, stiff arm, and know a guy is there? The guy for me, honestly, like I said, there's so many. David saying like Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner would be a great one. If you said Bobby Wagner, I wouldn't hate that.
Bobby Wagner was
it didn't matter how good our defense was for the 49ers or what other team was. You can count on Marshawn Lynch to do something crazy every single week. So I'm going to say Marshawn Lynch, and my second, who I think you're going to pick, and I would have picked if not for him, Steve Largent. So that's my second. That's my honorable mention there. And I thought about it because we had to think about like which one we were going to. Yeah. I sat there and thought about it, and the ones I came to was Steve Largent, Marshawn Lynch, and Bobby Wagner. Those are my 3 guys. I didn't think Hasselbeck or anything like that. Those are my top 3, but I landed on just Lynch just because, as a fan, I feared him the most compared to the defense of the Seahawks. I feared the defense, not necessarily just one player. Marshawn Lynch, I feared Marshawn Lynch. So that's what I would say.
And you said that go my man there, Cam Chancellor. That's my dude. But in this particular instance, and I can see why you went with Marshawn Lynch. And shout out to the Seattle defense, man. They were just absolutely incredible from I think it was 2011 to 2013, man. They put up phenomenal numbers and
one of the greatest, top 3 greatest defenses ever.
Attitude. And the running game is an extension of the defense. I truly believe that in my heart of hearts, but I do have to go with one Steve Largent. Steve Largent at the time when Jerry is coming in, Steve Largent is phasing out in the late 80s into the early 90s. And see, the Seahawks didn't exist. Seahawks came into the National Football League in 1976, the same year that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they were expansion franchises. And, you know, they weren't even in the NFC. They were an AFC team. And, you know,
that's how you test a real Seahawks fan, because some Seahawks fans don't know that.
They were on the AFC. We ain't even deal with them. Their big rivalry was probably the Raiders, and they would lock horns a lot with Miami. But back then, man, the numbers that Steve Largent was putting up made the Seattle Seahawks must-see TV. He had a quarterback named Jim Zorn, who would later he coached the Washington with the Redskins, but he later goes on and coaches. But Steve Largent was putting up incredible numbers. And as a minority, and I know I'm verbally flipping it a little bit, but when the majority of a said position is predominantly black, for a little white boy to be
the original Cooper Kupp.
He was the original Eminem. He is 10 yards up. It just, you know, I having a kinship because I know what it's like to be the only pea in the pod and outperform everybody else. So that means something to me. He stood tall, man. Good dude, man. I think he probably ran for office and stuff, and probably got elected to some way or somehow. Steve Largent was it. Class receiver, good receiver,
I don't think he
perfect
wore
routes,
gloves, did he?
always finding his way open, could just bust you up, man. And before Jerry just got in and just was putting up numbers that he was like, what? I referenced earlier that the 22 touchdowns in a season, that was a strike shortened season. He did 22 touchdowns
Really?
in 12 games.
That's pretty phenomenal.
It was only 12 games. It won't 16 games. 22 in 12 games.
Damn.
We
That's
it
impressive today.
dude, it was Randy Moss just breaks that record the year that the Patriots went to the Super Bowl.
2007.
Yes, 07. When they just and you seen, when Randy Moss was doing Tom Brady to Randy Moss, it was must see TV on ESPN. Hey man, it was games. Jerry Rice had 5 touchdowns in a game. We played it was the Falcons. Yeah, Jerry put up 5 on them. It was sick. But before that, the predecessor before that was one Steve Largent up there in the in the great Northwest. We didn't even get most of their games. They would come on the late game on the AFC it was NBC. You would see him every now and then, and when he got on, it was a show. Steve Largent gonna give you what he got. It was Steve Largent for me.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to it's you could easily like that. That's why I feel like me saying Marshawn Lynch is so kind of like it is a hot take. I feel like because it's just Steve Largent was that guy. And again, it could just because it's past my time, and that does happen. Like you don't feel that, but based on what I felt and what I've seen, and the impact that he made, and what he still stands for to this day, I feel like 20 years from now we'll still talk about Marshawn Lynch and what he did and who he was. But Steve Largent, like you said, 22 touchdowns in 12 seasons, nothing to shake your head at. That is absolutely insane, and people still talk about him to this day, and that should say enough about his legacy and stuff. So, like, it may be because I didn't want the same answer, or maybe because that's the obvious one, but like,
but you made a compelling case. You really rolled out that Marshawn Lynch. I like that.
Yeah,
I like really rolled that out.
Some people would say Russell Wilson, and it's just like. Russell Wilson was great, like in that little time period and that stuff like that. I get it, but I feel like I feared Marshawn Lynch more than I did Russell Wilson at the time. Like that's kind of how I really balanced that out. Russell Wilson did give him their first Super Bowl, played phenomenal, 48 points in the Super Bowl against the #1 offense. That like he played phenomenal. So I'm not going to ignore what Russell Wilson did, despite what he is today. But I feared Marshawn a lot more than I ever did Russell Wilson.
And a lot of people will allude to the fact, giving him some sentimental value. They should have ran Marshawn Lynch on that.
That goal line, that might change. That's another thing.
You might have a sympathy vote on there. You get a little Fitzgerald on that because everybody knew. You're gonna run beast mode. You need a yard. You're gonna run beast mode, right? It's a dude named Beast Dude. If it's a video game, you can flip your switch and go to beast mode.
That's that.
It's like it's a cheat. It's a cheat code to go to beast mode.
It is kind of like a metaphor for who was more important, who was better. Like if he got that touchdown off and they scored the touchdown, they won a touchdown. And they win the game back-to-back Super Bowls. Probably Russell Wilson is the face of the entire Seattle Seahawks for the rest of the career. But since the opposite happened, where you should have given it to Marshawn instead, it's kind of like it kind of plays into that. Where it's like, nope, it's Marshawn. Yeah. Should have been Marshawn. Everyone thought it was Marshawn. Yeah. I mean, that literally goes down as one of the worst play calls in NFL history.
In sports history. It was the equivalent of, okay, we're down with seconds left, and you're the coach of the Chicago Bulls, and you say, give the ball to Cartwright. when, when you got Michael Jordan back there. No, Michael, we're gonna run a play for Cartwright. This will really fool him. No one's expecting that, dude.
There's a lot of things I could do that you wouldn't expect. Doesn't mean I could put the punter out there in quarterback.
We can. No one will expect us to do the old drop kick. You know, what are you doing?
I also would a lot of things that frustrates me not frustrates me, but it's like the obvious, like when a Seahawks fan says, well, yeah, well, if it worked, nobody would say anything. Well, yeah, that applies to every single play that doesn't work out.
Oh, yeah.
I could throw a Hail Mary, and if it worked out, guess what? That would have been a genius.
He's a genius.
Play. I could say that about absolutely every single play. If it worked out, guess what? It's a genius move. That's not an excuse. Okay? What makes you a great play caller, what makes a great move or a good one is making plays that are successful and that work. And if they don't work, then it's a bad play call. Then it's not something you should do. Like that, that doesn't make. And that's what I'm saying. It's like when I hear that, I'm like that applies to every single play.
Yeah, it's critical game theory. You just, dude. My philosophy is don't try to outsmart anybody. And I'm talking to a particular coach. They know what you're gonna do. Just be so good at it. Put the best players' hands on the ball in the biggest moment. That way, nobody can say anything. You went with your horse. You did what you do. That's it. If you try to come out here and do some super secret, elaborate, I'm gonna, I have the elixir. I'm gonna fool everybody. No. If it works, oh great. Oh yeah, man. Oh, nobody saw that coming. But when they don't, oh,
you gotta take responsibility for that shit play call.
What an idiot!
Just like you get credit for the great stuff, you're gonna get credit for the bad stuff. And it works both ways.
You take that blame, baby. That blame pie is all on you. Yeah,
that's like one of my
coordinator.
That's one of my favorite things. Like when it's like, oh, you guys lost Super Bowls. I'm like, yeah, well, at least we're not going down as history as the worst play call in NFL. It sets Seahawks fans off. That would piss me off as a 49ers fan. Yeah. I would lose my mind every time I see it because they still bring it up to this day. You'll see it, and every single day.
Seahawks, y'all have that title, y'all have that Oscar, and you can put that on the shelf. That is all yours.
Rubbing their face and everything again. And I love it every time you see it on the when a game happens or whatever. Like some at some point in the season, they're gonna show that clip of the interception every single time. And I absolutely love it. And then you see Seahawks fans in the comments just being like, yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. Why do we keep seeing this? It's been like a decade and a half.
Every Super Bowl, they're gonna roll that bad boy out, boy. You're gonna see David Tyree with the helmet catch, and you're gonna see Malcolm Butler intercept Russell on the 1 foot line.
As a 49ers fan, though, I guess this is a good segment to ask. I guess, what is your interception at the goal line moment for the 49ers? Mine personally, some will say the deep pass from Jimmy G. That one hurts. Some will say the unblocked Chris Jones to Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
That's one of them. Mine personally is the throw to Crabtree 4 straight plays doing the exact same route. Exact same thing.
Yeah, the fade.
That one against the Ravens hurts me the most. That one hurts me the most.
Yeah. We had our moment there because Kyler Young is in the chat. He gonna tell me, man, we should have ran Frank Gore right there.
Kaepernick says that he was gonna do a run, but then but he says Jim Harbaugh, I forgot who said it. Someone said that it was originally going to be a run for Frank Gore on 4th down, I think. Which I don't know why I would do it like on second or third, first and second down.
Yeah,
because you're 5 yards out. They were 5 yards out from the end zone.
Okay.
So from what I heard, Jim Harbaugh called a run play on 4th down, and Kaepernick actually called an audible to Crabtree on that 4th down play. That's what I heard. And I don't necessarily disagree with the audible aspect of things, because you are 5 yards out, and if Frank Gore doesn't get that 5 yards, you lose the game. But I don't like the fact that they did the exact same freaking fracking fade throw 4 straight times. You do something different. That's my itch with it. But I don't think Kaepernick should have had the ability to call an audible like that, and should have just let Jim Harbaugh call the run play and do that. Obviously, because you're in retrospect, you can say that.
If it went down like that, yeah, all we were doing, and I gotta go back and watch. We have to have the consideration of the time, as far as throwing it, because it saves time to have an incomplete pass, and it's got to be to a corner or the back of the end zone, to where if it is not a reception, it definitely isn't a touchdown. I mean, isn't an interception. You don't want it. You don't want to get intercepted right there and take everything off the board. But yeah, man, that was just a rough one.
You can't do that. You got to like take that risk. If it's interception, it's interception. And if it's, it's just that plays in my head a lot. Like I'm a little okay. So that's my interception up the middle kind of moment for me. But the Super Bowl that hurt me the most is the Jimmy G one. I can get over the Ravens one because we were never in it to begin with. So
yeah.
Everything after that was a blessing. The Super Bowl we just lost with Brock Purdy, that was a fight, overtime. That was a battle.
Yeah.
The 19 Super Bowl, we should have won. We had it all going for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that one, we choked that. That was a choke. I don't think the one Purdy was a choke. We were blessed to be in that Ravens game, but the 19 one, I cannot justify. You guys are right. We did choke that one away. We had a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter, and we choked it. We had it all, man. So that one,
and was averaging 6.1 yards per carry. Just run the rock, man. Just run that rock.
That's what got them there in that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it was a playoff game. We didn't throw that thing but 8 times. Don't don't do nothing fancy. Just win the game. Don't try to make a hero. Don't try to throw it and show them your new plays and look at this, man. Run that rock, run that clock, run that rock. Get possession, momentum. Just keep on converting.
Don't be like
6 yards of carry, man. It's 6 yards of carry. Just two carries is the first down, bro.
Yeah, 110%, man. It's just so the Super Bowl that hurt me the most was 19, like overall, but the play that always plays in my head is the one that made us first time losing in the Super Bowl ever.
Yeah. It
was right there, man. 5 yards away. You had 4 plays to just get 5 yards. You had all the momentum, and then you do 4 of the exact same play. It did not make sense to me. And then they did the same thing like next year against the Seattle Seahawks, where Kaepernick's like, okay, let me go ahead and just throw it against Richard Sherman because I want to make Crabtree the hero of the game. When you had Anquan Bolden wide open in the middle, that drives me nuts when I see that play. Anquan Bolden was open in the middle for first down plus, potentially a touchdown. He throws a freaking fracking 50-50 ball to Crabtree.
Freaking fracking.
Just because he wanted to embarrass Richard Sherman, because he wanted to give the success to Crabtree, he screwed us over there. That one drives me nuts too.
And Sherman knew he was going to try him too. His B-roll. He said, "I bet you're going to try me. Watch they try me." And he was sitting on that thing, man. It tips it to, I think it's KJ Wright. He tipped it
Malcolm
to
Smith.
Malcolm Smith. Yeah, Malcolm Smith.
Yeah, he won Super Bowl MVP that year because like a lot of players played phenomenal in that Super Bowl, so they decided to give it to Malcolm Smith. So
yeah, they could have gave it to the whole defense.
Yeah, the whole defense. If you can give the whole defense a Super Bowl,
just everybody, y'all just
got it.
all together now. We're going to Disneyland. And they have had multiple winners. Back in Doomsday Defense, the Cowboys, Harvey Martin and Randy White won Super Bowl MVP, and a guy named Chuck Howley for the quarterback for the Cowboys won Super Bowl MVP in a losing effort. He was they lost the game, and
That
he
never
still
happened.
it's happened. Chuck Howley.
Really? Like, how many Super Bowl MVPs are there that lost? I think that's like the only one, isn't it? That's
That
only
that
happened one time.
that probably be it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you got
He had
you
a
got
hell of a
damn
game.
good.
It was a very, very sloppy game. It's known as the Blunder Bowl. It was the year I was born. It was 1970, and I think it was Wolf. I think it was 8 or 12 fumbles in the game.
That's a lot,
It
man.
was really bad. It was 8 or 12 fumbles.
Nobody wanted to win.
Yeah, that's why they just said look, after the game. They just said, "Look, just give it to that guy and let's get on out of here." This is horrible.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. So, what is your? Do you agree that 19 is probably the one that escaped us? It's probably the worst
Man.
one. Do you think that was the one that kind of hurts you the most?
Just it. Ugh. That last one, man. We just those 3-and-outs in the third quarter. I'm like, what are we doing? Then we got a turnover, and we 3-and-out after that turnover. We got Patrick Mahomes. I think he threw an interception and he had a fumble. We got him down. Just let's run that rock, man. Use CMC. I know he fumbled the first play of the game or the second, maybe the second, third play of the game, but just run it, man. Just let time be on our side. And I agree, man. That 19 hurt too, because again, you averaging 6.1 a carry. You out here throwing it, 3-and-out, and
Just because I feel like that happened because people, and it's a bad time to prove things. Obviously, especially the interception of the Seahawks, trying to prove Russell Wilson's the guy, not Marshawn Lynch. It's the same thing I felt. I'm not saying this is true, but there was a narrative after that NFC Championship game because Mostert was just dominating the entire Vikings team or whatever.
Yeah.
There's this narrative, oh, Jimmy G doesn't do anything. He can't throw. He can't sling it, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, oh, let me prove that Jimmy G can sling it at the end of the game when it's on the line. Like,
pride.
That drives that.
That's pride. It's in the Bible. Pride goeth before destruction. Don't be too proud to big. Don't be proud out here. And I'm gonna show them this and show them that. Whenever I get cute, man, the Bible says, humble yourself before the mighty hand of God, and He'll exalt you in due time. Just shut up and do what you're supposed to do. Don't get cute. Getting cute get you killed. Getting cute.
Like, no one gives a shit if Jimmy G isn't like this super throw guy. If he wins us a Super Bowl, it don't matter. Like, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, just
now it does matter.
Once you put that on, it don't matter. It's like,
I don't care if he can't throw the ball. We won the Super Bowl. So it's like,
it's the ring that counts, man, and it's a whole bunch of women that are fiancés and never get married. They never get the ring, and things happen, and they're like, "Well, he done threw me out." Well, you ain't married. That's just my baby daddy. The ring counts. That solidifies it. That's all you need to get to.
I'd be like, I agree with you. I'd be like, I agree. Jimmy G's ass, but guess what? We still won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
I don't care.
We still beat y'all with an ass quarterback.
Yeah, that's just all that matters. So the whole like the play that plays in my head is that deep ball to Emmanuel Sanders for that one. The one in 2019. There's multiple things that you could think of, but every time I think about it is the wide open shot at Purdy from Chris Jones, and then the Ravens one is the 4 straight passes of the exact same play every single time. Even if you thought it was a holding, even if you thought there was a little bit of holding, even
it was definitely some holding there. It was holding, but they just let them play. It was a whole bunch of holding. It was some holding. But hey,
But at least none of those plays are the worst play call in NFL history. It's something you can hang your head on.
At least I'm better than you. Seattle Seahawks. We will never have the dubious honor of the worst play call ever.
Exactly. Something you can make yourself feel better about the situation and stuff like that for sure.
Good for my
I would say
self-esteem.
for the Patriots, honestly, I would say it was the Asante Samuel dropped interception where that they would have won the Super Bowl. Perfect season. It would have been over. And I'm sure that's Tom Brady's. I would say that's also Tom Brady's the drop Asante Samuel interception.
Yeah, it's on him.
That was the Hemmel catch after that. And it's just like, dude, you had it in your hands. You had the perfect season in your hands, and you fumbled. It's like the perfect analogy of what happened there. Just, perfect season. Oh, shit. Bounced out of my hands.
Yeah, that would not quite to the nth degree, but Jaquaski Tart, man, in the NFC Championship versus the Rams.
That one comes to mind, too. It was 4 minutes. Like, there's 4 minutes left. I get that, but still, it ruined the momentum.
That would have zapped them. They're out of luck, and I don't know.
Because right after that interception, they felt themselves. They felt the momentum. They felt like, okay, luck is on our side. Let's go take some shots. Let's do this. And that's all it takes. It takes a play like that. This is suddenly a team to just feel like they have the momentum.
There it is. Yeah, you can't miss the opportunity.
What happened?
Can't miss that opportunity, man. Eminem said it best. The moment you own it, you got one shot.
That was the throw. That was the throw where Jimmy G on 3rd down and long rolled out to the left and just threw it. And I understand it would have been 14. It would have been 4th and 16. I understand it would have been something like that. So, but still, live to see another down, man. We threw it on 3rd and 16 where you were falling down and got picked off, and it ended that.
Yeah, man, it was bad.
That was the end of Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. I
never.
He plays. Ironically, he plays for the Rams now. I don't like Jimmy G around anytime. I don't like being in the same state as Jimmy G. He just he is a bad luck piece. He's like that tiki piece on the Brady Bunch where Alice hurt her back and Greg almost drowned. If he's around, man, it's just bad stuff that happens. When Purdy gets hurt in the NFC Championship, he's on the sidelines. You know, I see when I saw him on the sideline that day, I was like, something ain't right. Why is he even here? Yeah. Like a sissy getting tickled under the table.
Did you know that apparently I've heard, I don't know if this is true. I really do not have research on this, but I've heard that he could have played.
I have no doubt. Your boys, Martellus Bennett and Julian Edelman were telling the story about, they brought up Jimmy G. He said he a bitch. He did the same thing to them when he was at the Patriots. He was supposed to play, and he was supposedly hurt. He had practiced all week, and around Friday, he says, I don't think I can. And it's like, and Tom is out at this time because he's suspended for Deflategate. So they're depending on him, man. And he said, never again. I don't worry about it again. Ask Martellus Bennett. Martellus will tell you.
Yeah, I never believed in the Jimmy G. A lot of people like Jimmy G too. I've seen a lot of people like praise him, like he's a really great quarterback, blah blah. But I never saw it with this guy, and I never saw him be this great dude that did incredible things. He had a quick release, like he did some good things that you can brag about, I guess. But there's never consistency there. He couldn't make those clutch throws when you need him to. It was bad.
Yeah, I guilty as charged. He got the old Sergeant terror. I was in Green Bay. Dude, it is 11 at kickoff. 11. They made this game at night. It's a playoff game. It's the one we wind up winning at the end. But just before the half, we are down. They're on the opposite end. And this MFer throws interception right at the half and takes our guaranteed 3 points off. Wolfie, when when he jogged in, he came in early. It was him and two other coaches beside him. He jogs in with his little, his little snooty way. Wolfie, I lit his ass up like the 4th of July. They heard me in Wisconsin. They heard me in Minnesota. They heard me all around the Great Lakes. I laid into his ass like it ain't no tomorrow. And he heard the coaches, everybody was looking up at me. And I had to come and apologize. If there is some film out there, I had to tell my apostle, hey man, it might be some film. If somebody had a camera out there, um, it was a rough moment. I'm sorry, boy. And Wayne Breezy and them have a show. They had the post after reaction show, and they like somebody must have talked to them at halftime. They were they were a different team. I know who. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I gave him everything y'all ever wanted to give him in a
Went all out, huh?
of thunder, lightning, and all hell coming down on them. I let it all fly that night, baby. I'm out here 11 degrees and the temperature dropping and it's snowing. D bought a pretzel, one of those hot pretzels, and I told her don't get the pretzel. She bought that hot pretzel. Man, it's the first quarter, and she looked and she said, "I broke my tooth on this pretzel." You better put that scarf on. We are not leaving the stadium for your chip tooth that I told you don't get that hot pretzel, man. That thing was freezing up, man. It was cold.
Playoff football, you can't do that, man. You can't do that.
And it was cold. It was cold, man. And Jimmy G out here throwing interceptions and smiling. I'm a sissy under the table.
Yeah, he really he cared about his looks and his body way too much.
Yeah.
In football, you can't do that.
Yeah,
that was the game where he won what 11-10. He won 11-10 or something like that. 12-10.
12-10. What?
That was the game we.
Yeah, it was a low scoring game. We win. Robbie Good's goal at the end. Hufunga blocks it right in front of us. I had some great seats. I was right there at the goal line. Right behind the goal. When the net went up, it almost hit me. And we went at the end of it was special teams. It was special teams that brought that win in. Hufunga with the block, and then Robbie Good's goal, man. That was a great win.
They almost blocked that. Do you see look like they played that? It was this
very
close
low
from blocking it, dude.
Wolfie, the ball must have been like a cinder block, because I'm telling you, it was so cold out there, man.
Oh, it looked chilly, man. That's why I like being in my house to go to the game. it looked cold. Man. It looked cold. But yeah, for sure. Before we go, one last thing, because we didn't really talk about it, just the final stuff for the basketball.
Who I got?
I got Pacers winning that thing. I think the Pacers will win.
Wolfie with the hot take. He going Pacers.
And I know that a lot of people are like, that's like you said, hot take. A lot of people are thinking, wow, Pacers. But that's just me being a homer to an extent, because Halliburton represents Brock. I got to go with my team in that situation. I don't care if they 90%, because apparently it's like 90%, 93% or something like that. Thunder's going to win this thing or something like that, chances wise. Sure, whatever. I don't care. The odds. They're clutch. That's what they said. That's what they said about the Knicks. Okay, when they were facing the Pacers, were going to get blown out 4-0-4. They said the same thing about the Pacers team before that. I can't remember what it was. All playoffs, everyone said the Pacers were going to lose quickly, and that did not happen. It's going to happen again. The Pacers are going to get it done. OKC's going to choke because they got a free throw merchant and just one tall ass motherfucker. That is it. We got Halliburton,
a free throw merchant.
All right. We got Halliburton. We got Sakeem, the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Right.
Siakam. Yeah. Pascal Siakam. It was a lot of controversy. Well, it was a split vote, and they 5-4, and they gave it to Siakam. But Halliburton led in every other statistical category except for points. He had one. He had one bad night, man. I think it was Game 4. I don't think he had like 8 points. And to be the dude, I mean, you're not going to hit 30 or 40 every time, but what you cannot do is be
Just
in
be underdog.
single
Don't
digit and
yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, I won't, man. And knowing the kind of guy that Halliburton is, it's not a big deal to him as long as we get the chip. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he gets the
I
Siakam got the
wouldn't
Larry Bird Award.
I could see why Halliburton thought he was gonna win. Like I understand why, because he did have clutch. He had clutch
Oh yeah,
shots
that
in multiple
win
games.
with the bounce and all the way through.
He has that play. He had another one too. He had some clutch situations.
Oh
He's
yeah,
really good at passing the ball. Like I'm not saying he's the greatest that I've seen. I've seen some basketball games here and there.
Mhm.
He's not the greatest, but like you could tell he kind of stands out. When you
Oh,
watch him,
he's
like he
great.
stands out. And
Yeah,
I've
he
seen
led
Hakeem
an
too as
assist
well.
and rebounds and uh points in the paint. He did everything. He was number one in everything except for the average point total. But
Yeah, and I wouldn't like the with the Pacers. I'm not trying to just sit here and just glaze the Pacers because Halliburton. That's just one of the reasons why I'm doing it. So I can be invested, right? So I can care, something like that.
yeah,
But I actually enjoy watching them play because my complaint with basketball is that it's soft. It doesn't seem like you can't do much without getting a foul.
yeah.
But for some reason, the Pacers are able to be aggressive and they're actually in there trying to get the ball and they're doing physical things. I'm like, okay, this is entertaining
Yeah.
because they're fighting all through the entire game of trying to make sure that the guy is not comfortable. It's not necessarily about like, okay, I don't want to foul him. It's like I also don't want to make him comfortable. And that's what they're doing. It's not necessarily just trying to get the turnover. It's just trying to make sure that they can't make a mistake. They can't cut left and suddenly a hand being there. That's what I like seeing from the Pacers. Pacers are actually fun to watch.
Yeah, man.
And that's kind of something that I have
Very
to give them a
entertaining.
shout out to. But yeah, so I'm going to go Pacers. I'm going to say Pace. I already made a prediction. This is my hot shot prediction. I said Pacers in 5.
Pacers in 5.
Pacers in 5.
Pacers in 5.
I got Pacers in 5. So who do you got? Who do you think is going to win this?
Ain't no jive. Things alive. Wolf got Pacers in 5.
Pacers in 5. I think that's going to happen. So I got that, and I am going to go live for the NBA Finals. I decided that I'm going to do that.
If I'm off, I'll jump on with you. The first one's going to be Friday. I had the schedule up here. Hold on, let me see.
Thursday.
Yeah,
Thursday or Friday?
there you go. It will be June 5th. June 5th will be Thursday. I'm working on the 5th. Yeah. Dang.
At 5:30. Well, there'll be other games, right? You can do what's the ones you can do?
Let me see. 5. Let's see. They got June 8th. Am I off on the 8th? That's Sunday night. All right. I'm there Sunday night.
Sunday
Sunday
night. All right,
night.
let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Sunday
Go
night.
for it, man. Like, and you can help, like, because I'm as casual I am, I don't know some things. When I see a foul, I'm be like, that's not a fucking foul.
We'll bring
Maybe like, yeah, Wolfie, that was kind of a foul. I'm like, how, dude? He's stood there, man. So, because I will probably lose my
What do you do?
Now,
What I said, like, why are they in the scores table? What is going on here?
yeah, so I'm gonna. So this is my first time ever going live for an NBA Finals. I'm thinking about doing a full on.
Let me shout my mom out, man. My mother's on watching. Yeah, Mom, I had to get a little. I had to tell him my Jimmy G story. Sorry all about that, Mom. You know how it go.
Your mom's gonna be like, "Did I just hear your co-host curse? Because I just said the F word hard." Hello, Mrs. Tara. Welcome. Your son is awesome. Best co-host ever had. Yeah, the NBA. I'm gonna watch the NBA Finals for sure. I'm still thinking about the NHL Stanley Cup.
I had that up too. It's on it. It's on the slide. Yeah, they start on the 4th. So they
tomorrow.
start
So
tomorrow night.
um,
Now who
I
you
don't think
got on that?
I got the Oilers. I want the Oilers to win that one. In the amount of games, honestly, I'm gonna say it goes to Game 7. It's gonna be tight. The
Well, I'm pulling
Florida,
for the Oilers too because Florida just embarrassed my Canes. So yeah, I'm going with revenge on this one. I hope Edmonton kills them.
yeah,
They even embarrassed us.
I want Edmonton to win that one so badly. I don't like the Panthers. As a Kings fan, I've never really enjoyed the Panthers. I shouldn't like the Oilers either because I know the Kings and Oilers knocked out the Kings. I get that, but I haven't been as invested in hockey like that, where like rivalries matter to me to an extent. Where it's been a few years since I actually gotten that involved. But I just respect Connor McDavid. I just think he needs to get one of those. The Panthers, I just never liked the Panthers. I told you before, any team from Florida, I have instant hate for. I just do. And so I don't want to see the Panthers go back to back Stanley Cup champions. I really don't want to see that. Um, and I think it's the Oilers' time. Oilers' time to get some revenge. I know that Crazy Juice is going for the Panthers, so it's gonna be fun, man. I absolutely love watching hockey. It's one of my favorite sports, even though I haven't kept up with it just because I've been so locked in with football that I don't really have time for other sports too much.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm probably gonna be watching the finals, Stanley Cup finals and the NBA finals and try to get some viewerships,
yeah.
hang out with
I'll
people,
be
have a good
I'll be
time,
on with you.
you
We'll
know.
we'll we'll have it's a way we can just put the score up and be watching the game, but we can't broadcast it. You can't show the imagery or whatever. But maybe we
Yeah, you can't.
can just have the game on. You can do like a radio broadcast, but it'd be us watching a little, you know, a
Yeah,
graphic of some sort. Yeah.
exactly. You can only have like the thing there, and then that's what I did when I watched the playoffs. I just had the scoreboard up and stuff, and you can have the people talking in the background and things like that. You just can't have the music they play can't hit your live, and you can't show the TV screen. You can in a reflection. So like if the game was like if there was like a mirror you had in the background, you could show the
Really?
game that way. Yeah, it's like a glitch. You can work your way through that, but you can't show the actual video itself. Sometimes people will have. Sometimes people, when you join a live, they'll have the video in the background in a mirror. It's not a very good. You don't really want to watch a game in a mirror.
Yeah. It's like he's left-handed. No, he's right.
Right. The opposite. So exactly.
Hey man, it's your show. Enjoy. Do you do your
Your
show?
show.
I
Your
understand.
show.
Just stop it by sending love. Okay, yeah. She has told me, look, I know your guests want to feel comfortable and talk. If you see me on there, y'all just go amongst yourselves, because she don't want to be the life of the. Let me, Wolfie. When I got ordained as a minister and then even elevated to an elder, I noticed the whole family, everything changes when you're that. I used to be the life of the party. I would go to cookouts or parties or get-togethers and stuff like that, and everybody would just be doing everything. Now they wait for me to leave so they can really get the party started. They don't want to drink in front of me. They'll hide it. They say, "Oh, here he come." Like you know,
I get it. I get it.
look, it's all right. Do what you do. Just don't go crazy or nothing. But
Suddenly doing the Lord's work, like right in the middle of trying to,
yeah,
do a little
like I'm
heist.
gonna be like I'm not Aunt Esther with a Bible. Brother Hugh is nothing but a heathen. you know, just have a good time, man. It's all right.
Honestly, though, if I had to be myself, I would never be monetized because I have to catch myself all the time because
Yeah.
I curse like a sailor, and the curse words are powerful with me. I can say the F word with power. I can say the B word with
Oh,
power, and
yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
reel it in. I have to reel in my superpower of cursing because that you can't do that. It doesn't apply
Yeah,
to you.
yeah. Use your powers for good, Daniel son. I'm the same. I can get quite eloquent. I have taken it to levels unseen with a vocal throne of of death. I have made grown men cry. I truly have, and I used to take big pride in it, but you know, I keep those
Well,
clubs.
I normally do it because it's usually before I got monetized. That's what I would do because it wouldn't matter because I could just make the video. People watch it. People think it's funny, but I had to stop doing that. But yeah, it was just my superpower, making people laugh and stuff. I'm like, what the? Like I really just,
yeah.
I really know how to emphasize that first letter and that last letter. Like I really know how the enunciation, I should say. And so it's just.
I still remember on that mock draft when I forgot
Yeah.
Atlanta that took your guy. I was like, this guy's
Atlanta, you bitch. Yeah. It's yeah. I'm strong with the force, as I would say, but
But you laughing that crazy, brother. You need to get yourself together. Fred Sanford, you nothing but a messy fool.
I had to. I made a video where it got like 10,000 views on a short, which I was like, okay, that's like $5 right there. Okay, that's cool. It got demonetized because at the end I say motherfucker, and I was like, why did I say that? Like, why did I just ruin $5? I just lost $5
right off of there.
So I was pretty bummed about that. I was like, man, that sucks. So I have to in shorts, you'll notice I'll say, and I'll just say and I'll try to censor it out, or you can say shit. You can say shit, which is okay. You can say ass and stuff like that, but you can't say those powerful curse words because
the ones that have like a German theme behind it.
German theme, I like that. For sure. But yeah, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the NBA finals later and stuff like that. I'll look forward to doing a show with you.
I'll be on with the Thursday night, but I'll just be watching. I'll be in the audience on the chat.
All right.
But Sunday, yeah, I'm down Sunday.
Let's do it.
We'll be there together.
All right.
All right. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Y'all coming on out today, man. We cut it down 2 hours and 52 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 2 hours and 52 minutes. That ain't take much long.
And this is the slow season, by the way. This is the slow season. And it's only 2 hours.
This is the off season. This is the off season.
We'll be here 8 hours when the season starts.
I'll clip all this up, and you'll see a couple of shorts here and there. Like and subscribe, hit all so you can get every time that I'm on. Click over to Wolfie too. Hit like, subscribe, all, and you'll see some of the funniest shorts you ever. Wolfie's got an art for it, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back Thursday morning at 10. Going flying solo. Shout out to CG Ruthless. I'm on with him tonight. Y'all come back and tune in. I will go live. We are gonna do some debating of some sort. CG Ruthless and a couple of other guests.
Oh shit! Who's your partner?
I don't know. I think I'm just it might be CG. Might be CG. He will, we'll just line it up and we'll see what's what. It might be a debate on who's slower, Christian McCaffrey or the speed of light. and I'll be like the Bears, however you want to do it.
I'll tune in. I'll see how it goes, man.
We'll see how it go, man. We'll get it all together. So come back a little later on. I'm gonna get something to eat, and then we'll be getting into that. So, but thank you everybody for coming through, stopping in. Shout out Red Jet Shell. She's promoting like Don King in the Rumble in the Jungle. It is a great only in America. Thank you so much, Papa J, Crazy Juice, Tommy Huxley, Kylie Young, my main man Rod Callie was in here. All of y'all, man. Mom stopped through. I'm just scrolling all the way up. Papa J in the building. Thank y'all so much, man. Each and every one of you, because you make it happen. You make this thing good. I certainly appreciate it. Wolfie, you got anything else for the people?
No, just thank you guys for being here. You guys, like Terradone said it all. Like, you guys make this what it is, and I appreciate every single one of you guys. This is a dream of ours, and we cannot do it without you guys. So we appreciate you guys spending the time, taking the time out of your day to watch us conversate, have a good conversation, because at the end of the day, it's just one big conversation.
Amen. Amen. And remember, everybody, we walk by faith and not by sight. In Jesus' name, amen. Good day. God bless.
Oh!